Welcome to Top Shelf Book Club, a Mighty Books podcast segment where my sister, Emily McDonald, and I, Ryan Oliver, discuss presumably quality books while indulging in some top shelf liquor. So listen for yourself while we judge books to see whether they earn the right to be rated top shelf.
We had cranberry juice and I put peach crown in it. 10 out of 10 recommend, by the way. I was like, this sounds like it'll probably be okay. And then I tasted it and I was like, yep, that's a winner.
I'm feeling sleepy, so I have coffee. Let's pretend there's liquor in here.
I am always sleepy, so I have coffee and then I have a Monster for later.
I avoid energy drinks. I do the Mios.
Oh yeah.
Black cherry Mio is the shit.
I'm not a
I love me some black cherry. Black cherry is yum yum.
I
Yum,
don't
yum.
mind.
Concentrate.
God, I think it was Mike's Hard had a black cherry flavor that I
I like that too. I've
But
had
now
it.
Mike's Hard makes me throw up, so I cannot do that
So
anymore.
don't drink that.
I
Oh,
don't.
speaking of throw up, your nephews, oh my God. Dear Lord in heaven. Yeah. Oh, I sent you a message. I sent the siblings a message. You saw that. It looked like someone had murdered a fucking Eminem character. Like we had some went to some show at the Admiral. It was some dinosaur show. The kids loved it. I couldn't have cared less. And we were like stopped and grabbed some food. We got some ice cream after. Jackson had some like Oreo type thing. Well, it was everywhere in the bathroom. Yeah, he missed. It was disgusting.
It sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He got some of it in there, but he missed the rest and just.
At least the effort was there, right? And it was in the bathroom.
That's true because before he would wake up, throw up on the floor, roll over, and go back to sleep.
That tracks for my nephew.
That is infuriating for me. I'm like, get up.
Yeah, that
sounds
right.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, Chris, I'm gonna throw up. Okay, go to the bathroom. Throws up in front of mom's door.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah. The oldest one has no problem running to the bathroom. He was sick a couple days ago, and poor kid, he was sick.
Yeah.
Little guy was not sick. He just something did not bode well. He threw up, and he was like, "I'm hungry again." You're disgusting.
Yeah.
I love him, but he's disgusting. He's cute and disgusting.
He's our brother, is what he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's my little brother, your big brother.
Yeah.
20-something years later. I'm raising my brother.
You sure are.
No, I don't think so.
I'm raising a dog that acts like a toddler.
No, Jackson's more he has definitely fought my father-in-law. He's a prankster now. He's pranking people.
Oh, is he?
Oh yeah, he's pranking us. Yeah, it's good.
Tell him I don't like pranks. I'm gonna beat his ass.
Yeah.
Don't prank me, dude.
No kidding. Oh, you just prank him back and you prank him harder.
I don't have that bit of my brain for pranks. Yeah. I just get irritated. I'm like, the fuck? And then I'm like, okay, haha, so funny. And then I'm like, great. And I move on with my life. I'm like, I don't care. I'll be like petty, but I'll be petty in a way that's just like slightly inconvenient and kind of funny to me. Like, I don't want to actually prank you.
There you go. Yeah. I did a little pranking when I was down on the pier. But I usually had influence of other folks too, because they had the pranking mind in tow, and I would just tag along and give suggestions. Hey, we could do it like this and make this better. Ooh,
that I could probably do. I can't come up with
a co-conspirator, if you will.
Yes.
I had fun. We had fun. There's some people who just bred for that. Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh. Anyway. Okay. Yes. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to have fun today.
Hello.
We're talking about a book. You didn't know that already.
What?
I know. And it's a movie. I haven't seen the movie, though.
I'm still upset about the movie because it's only available on Apple TV. And I don't want to pay for another subscription to be on Apple TV.
Cheers.
And then I was like, maybe I can buy it or rent it on Amazon. No, it's not available on Amazon.
Not even there. I looked.
I'm real upset because I'm like, it's from 2022. Why is it not on Amazon?
I don't know. It's I wonder if like over time it will disseminate amongst the other streaming networks, but that's how people are making money now.
Cool. I was telling
Exclusive
Chris,
content.
I was like, there is way too many streaming services
Oh
right
my
now. There's
God.
like 15. Remember where there was just Netflix? Like,
Yes. Yes. But it had a
back in
monopoly
the
on the
day.
whole thing. So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, the streaming services are ridiculous. I've found that mostly these nowadays I am on YouTube. There's like 3 or 4 channels I love to peruse from time to time. And then other than that, kind of just watch what the wife wants to watch because I don't care.
Hulu and YouTube are my two go-tos.
What are we doing here? I don't know. We're talking about other things other than the actual story we're talking about. It's really
Are
great.
you surprised? Because I'm not.
I don't know either. Well, we're here to talk about the greatest beer run ever.
Oh,
Ever.
such a good story. Ever.
Ever. And it is.
Ever.
It absolutely is. Now, mind you, what's funny is I thought when I read the story, or not the story, the title, The Greatest Beer Run Ever, first off, it's by John Chick Donohue and
Yep.
JT Molloy.
Yes.
Um, I thought that it was someone going to get beer and then coming back.
That
So
is incorrect.
that is absolutely incorrect. It's about taking beer from one place and
And
delivering
bringing
it
it.
to people and then
Yes.
going back.
Yes.
That going back part is the
Eventually.
hard part in this story.
Yes. Well, I mean, the delivering the beer is kind of hard too.
You know what? Yeah, I feel like he had great success up until,
Did. Yeah.
but yes,
Yeah.
it was a little more challenging than your normal just venture down to the convenience store.
Yeah, like me bringing you beer would be a hell of a lot easier than what he did.
Oh my God. No kidding. So, okay, we'll start off with this is your first and only spoiler alert, everyone. So get ready to
Yes.
hear a wonderful alarm. Have fun. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Beep beep beep. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. All right. So, how about I'll read the quick back, the book blurb if you want to do the about the author afterwards.
Beautiful.
Hell yeah. All right. So, the greatest beer run ever is and was, always will be, who knows, New York Times bestseller. At least it was at one point, so you know.
Yeah.
Again, now a major motion picture film. And actually, the bottom here is a memoir of friendship, loyalty, and war by
Yeah.
John Chick Donahue and J.T. Molloy. One night in 1967 at a New York City bar, a group of men reflected on the family and friends lost to the ongoing war in Vietnam. Eventually, the bartender proposed an idea. One of them should sneak into Vietnam, track down their buddies, share messages of support from back home and some laughs, and maybe even some beer. John Chick Donahue, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran working as a merchant seaman, raised his hand. Within days, he had collected names, packed his bag full of American beer, and sailed to Vietnam. He arrived at the port of Quy Nhon and embarked on an odyssey that would change his life forever. An epic adventure, the greatest beer run ever, is proof that friendship knows no boundaries, and the ties that bind us are only strengthened in the crucible of war. It's awesome.
Dang.
Okay.
It is. I know. I bought it and read it, and I was like, Ryan has to read this.
I had never even heard of it. So when you made the suggestion, I'm like interested. Just by the name alone, I'm interested.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd seen the movie come out, and I was like, that sounds so interesting. And they were like, based on a true story, and I was like, whatever. And then I read it, and I was like, oh yeah, okay.
I was really glad it was based off of a like wartime veterans, not just a bunch of douchey
Stupid
college
teenagers.
guys running around throwing beer at each other. I'm really glad that's what it was. Just saying, because I can't stand that
I mean, that's not
bullshit
really my vibe
nonsense.
either. So
Those kind of shenanigans piss me off. It's like, go,
go
screw off.
read.
Well, it's funny, but it's like making a book and a film about
Oh
stupidity. It
yeah,
just drives me crazy. But
like
anyway,
neighbors.
this was well done. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's hear about our fabulous authors, plural.
So, John Chick Donahue was born in 1941 and he grew up in a neighborhood in Upper Manhattan. He joined the Marines at age 17 and then became a merchant mariner after discharge. After the war, he became a sandhog or tunnel builder and eventually became the legislative and political director of Sandhogs Local 147, Labor's International Union of North America, and
Mhm.
graduated from Harvard University's John F. Kennedy School of Government. He is married to Teresa Terry O'Neill, and in 1967, he was at a bar named Doc Fiddler's, where him and a group of regulars were talking about how they hoped everyone overseas knew that people at home were still thinking about them. They came up with a crazy idea to bring beers from home to the guys in Vietnam, and that's how the greatest beer run ever was born. He ended up buying the pub Doc Fiddler's in 1970,
Oh shoot.
and the guys came home. And in a later interview, John said, I was often asked, why did you do that? He said, simply put, it was the right thing to do. As outrageous as the idea sounded coming from the colonel and as difficult as it would have been to accomplish, it was just the right thing to do, or at least try to do. So I did it.
I feel like a lot of they had a lot more gusto and there's a lot more less technology almost makes you more prone to do more shit. You know what I mean? Just why not? Let's go for it.
I couldn't find much on JT Molloy, just that. So JT Molloy, a staff reporter and columnist at the New York Daily News. She lives in Brooklyn with her husband and son. And this book was written in memory of beloved cousin Eugene O'Connell, an actor who was killed in Vietnam on May 25th, 1968. Fine.
I know from prior it probably is I wonder if it's a female woman.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if she was just a friend of Chick Donahue and
Yeah.
I mean I've got a couple of author or one author interview I did had two authors in it on working on one book co-author and it was the person whose it was story was about in this case Chick Donahue,
Mhm.
and then the other one was someone who was just very good at writing it out and I've seen that
Yeah.
before where it's like and they were able to bounce ideas off each other. I think maybe that's what this was about. Maybe Donahue
Probably.
wasn't the most um not literate but right
Eloquent speaker.
eloquent writer.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known friends who are incredibly intelligent, but you ask them to write something down. Hey, can you write this report out for me? And it is like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
It is like pulling, like they just cannot do it. So
Yeah.
I can see partnering up with somebody to do that. And I've actually even uh, um, talked to folks who are like, they can edit things that are already there into their own kind of style, but to start from scratch is again almost impossible. It's
Yeah.
just
I can see that.
it's odd. I don't know what it is, but incredibly intelligent folks have that just they don't have the ability to do that. That's fine.
Yeah. I can see
Whatever
that.
gets the job done, right? Because it's a great
Yeah.
story.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's voluntary.
He was like, sure.
What the hell? Yeah. So okay.
Let's
So
do
we're
it.
gonna we're gonna jump in this bad boy. So we kind of you kind of already talked a little bit about it by just talking about the about the author portion, but it literally
Yeah.
started with just a crazy idea.
Yeah, the title of chapter 1 is One Night in a New York Bar, The Colonel's Challenge.
Yeah. And the colonel was basically the bartender who wasn't really a colonel.
Yeah,
Yeah, he wasn't really a colonel and the army. I think he was like private. I don't think he made it very far up the rank in the army or the Marines.
I'm sure they
Like,
said it. George Lynch was a bartender. It was an honorary title since he made only private first class in the Army, but he was a
okay.
great military historian and patriot.
Okay, yeah. And he was just a guy who would I think he was always really good at telling stories and he would not sacrifice any of the voices and the charisma and everything when you're telling a story. Which is a bartender, you're pouring drinks and you're telling great stories. They're gonna buy more fucking drinks, man.
You're gonna get some good tips too.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's like and you never said no to the man, apparently. And what they described him as beautifully crazy.
I want to be described that way. Beautifully crazy.
Beautifully crazy.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So they're at the bar bullshitting, talking, and then they're of course talking a lot of the story, and it's we're not gonna do it justice to tell the story. You really should just go buy the damn thing and read it all
Absolutely.
because throughout the book, every chapter he's got little anecdotes and I can't even say I mean a little tangent of what the history of the location was, what the temperature of the culture was at the time. And if you know anything about the Vietnam era, you know that there was a huge dichotomy of patriots or followers of the Vietnam War, basically those who fought it and those who didn't fight it and hate the people who did.
Yeah.
because they were the ones on the front lines supposedly killing babies. But that's not the case.
No.
You should have been mad at that. I love that he put that in there. Be mad at the leadership.
Yeah.
Don't be mad at the guys who are being told to go there because they're serving their country. If the leadership says we're going there, you're going there. It's kind of the
Yeah.
military way. They're
It's absolutely.
battling communism and all that.
Which I think
Um,
he did a really, really good job of kind of showing what the political leaders and the president and everything were actively doing.
yeah.
And like let's remember what's actually happening here. Like these guys are fighting for their lives and what's going on over here kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I think what was funny was like I think they even talked about those guys would protest the war, but you
Yep.
had people who went too far and they're protesting the soldiers.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's like don't hate the player, hate the game kind of a situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is beyond, I mean, how many people came back? They just went through hell and they're like in their early 20s. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
early 20s coming back, going through hell, seeing their friends get blown up and shot, seeing these
Yeah.
terrible, terrible things going down. They get back and they're getting spit on. I mean, called baby killer. Like,
And
what?
PTSD was not really recognized back then.
No, I mean,
So like
to a
they're
point.
coming back and having no help really.
No, no. Like, I think it started like
Yeah.
it's been called different things. And as time has gone on, we've recognized it more. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was not a huge thing. There's a lot of information coming out of that era back then for PTSD and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
PTSD became a mental health diagnosis in 1980.
oh my God. Yeah, they called
Yeah.
it first shell shock. That was in World War One. What do they call it after that? They kind of shell shock for a while, and then they called it something
Yeah.
else.
Let me see.
They had a couple different names. It got longer as the decades went on.
Yeah. Battle fatigue
Battle fatigue.
and then PTSD.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Battle
Well, then
fatigue.
they had the problem of thinking only soldiers could have PTSD.
Right.
Nobody else that had suffered any kind of trauma could have PTSD. It was only if you've been to war. Like it was so, and then they're like, oh no, that okay, trauma does it. Okay, got it.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
not really.
stressful situations do this. Well, it's funny. I've been listening to kind of psychologists and different interviews because that's just what I do, consume
Yeah,
information as much as it can from hopefully experts or those who have experience. I like
reputable sources.
I like reputable experts who have experience in the field. Like when I went through college learning to be a teacher, I had people who were a professor of whatever. I put quotations behind the professor part or
Yeah,
in the middle of that, and they had never been in the classroom before, like
which
teaching
makes no sense.
kids, which doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm like, how can you tell me how kids will behave? You have all these damn theories, but you have nothing practical to back your shit up. No,
Exactly.
well, it's baloney. It's like I'm an expert in
Yeah,
basketball because I've read all these books on basketball. But I've never played or dribbled a ball in my life. You can go screw yourself.
exactly. You are an
I
expert of nothing.
yeah, I've always valued experience over education because education
1000%.
experience is an education of itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but anyway, what was I getting at with that? Oh dear. Oh dear. I was going
I don't
somewhere.
remember.
I was going somewhere with that.
Oh, PTSD. So we started
Oh
with
yeah,
that.
yeah, okay. PTSD.
There we go.
Thank you. Thank you for putting my wheels back on the track for me.
My brain
Uh,
had to like jump. I was like, okay, we did this, and then we did that. Okay,
You're
but now I got
you did a lot
it.
faster than I could have. I was lost in the woods, man. It was bad.
I got there.
Thank you. That's why
You're
we do this
welcome.
together.
Exactly. Otherwise, you'd be
Listen,
like, oh shit, moving on.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh, I guess that's not gonna happen. Anyway,
Okay.
but they were talking about PTSD in finding it in people who
Mhm.
have been through terrible wars. And what was interesting is psychologists are saying, certain ones are saying that actually, if you put people in therapy for the PTSD, it's not always a good thing
Yeah.
because what ends up happening depends on the therapist, supposedly. I don't know. All you're doing is taught to focus on your trauma versus focusing on healing.
Yeah.
By healing me, just moving on with your life.
Yeah.
And people are, well, tell me about your trauma. If you're living your trauma all the time, you can't get over your trauma.
You're just
You can't.
constantly in fight or flight.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to quote our favorite doctor, Dr. Diamond. Okay.
Love him.
And if You go where you look is what he says. And I'm like, I love
I
that
love
so much.
that.
Have
There's
you heard the story of where that came from?
No, but it brought me back when, I was in Hawaii with mom, I did surfing, and
Yeah.
that's what you're taught is if you look at the sand, that's where you're gonna go. If you look at the water, that's where you're gonna go, and so it applies in so many different ways.
When I had the interview and he told me you go where you look, I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. Because he was biking on a very narrow trail in the mountains, and
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden he's focused on the trail and he's going on the trail very fast. They're like 30, 45 miles an hour down these damn, yeah, down mountainous path and these roots and rocks, and he's having a blast. And well, his attention gets taken to the side. Mind you, the side is a cliff. Uh-huh. Now it's of course not just direct 90-degree angle, it's a
Still,
sharp, it's still
it
you
close.
get thrown down there at large speed, you're rolling until you're dead. So
Yeah.
he ends up looking, well, as he looks to the side, where does he go? He starts leaning just slightly and he goes ass over tea kettle
Oh,
over and is able to catch himself on a root or a rock or a tree or something. Him and the bike. They get caught. He's able to get his butt back up on the trail, and he's
oh
like, "Wow, you really go where you look, don't you?" And
it's
I'm
funny
like,
'cause I fully know he's okay, like, I fully know he's fine, but I'm like, the whole time,
"Yeah, yeah."
like
It was, and it's just so true. When you think about it in life, you're like, if you're looking
Yeah,
at positive things, you're going to go towards positive things. If you
that's
are surround yourself with negative things and negative people and negative parts of life, that's what's going to fill you up. You're going to go there. Not all the
so
time, but
I
it's possible, more likely.
in 2020, after I went through my really bad breakup and stuff, I was trying really hard to repair my mental health and all of that kind of stuff. And so I was looking up just like positive affirmations I could put in my reminders to pop up every day just to kind of have that little dose.
Good
And it was
idea.
a negative mind will never get you a positive life.
I like
And I
it.
was like, no, it will not. So that was one of my reminders for probably 2 years. Until I think last year I was like, I think I'm okay. And I was like, I can take that one off. Like,
Well, that's really cool though. I mean, that's good because just put stuff in your face and it works good. Because I've had coworkers who are just absolute negative Nellies. Like they are just this guy whose name is Dave, and I called him Downer Dave. Like that's all it's
yeah,
like Downer Dave. Anytime it was everything's negative, everyone's out to get you, everyone's trying to screw you. I mean, he had a pretty terrible divorce, and the story was awful, but oh my God, for 20 years after they had divorce, he is still talking about it and how it's poisonous, cancer, and he affects all the mood of everyone around him.
yeah.
Finally, he's gone, but I mean, like
Those people just suck the soul out of you.
it does. It's just
Yeah.
everything's negative, everything's bad. It's like, you know what? A lot of things are negative and bad, but there's a lot of good things you can look at too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Anyway, okay. Back
So,
to back to the story here.
I mean, we're basically on chapter 2 already because
Well,
we know that,
before
like,
we, yeah, there's a quick detail I want to mention. So,
yeah.
as a merchant marine, he's got a thing called the Z card, his seaman's
Mhm.
card, merchant marine card.
Yes, I did. Where did I call the Z card?
It was in the first chapter, I thought, unless I
I mean, you're
hallucinated.
probably right, and I just missed it because I do that.
Well, I was obviously off base by just, I was screwed up before, and you got me back on the
I'm
track.
just like, I'm like, wait, why have I not? Why does that not sound familiar?
Yeah, a Z card. It's on page 4.
Oh,
Top of the
I'm an
second
introduction. What
top
the
of the
fuck?
second top of the second paragraph. I had a Siemens
Oh,
card.
yeah,
It's
yeah, you're
called the
right.
Z card,
Huh. All right.
which is like a
Not that I
military
doubted you. I
ID.
was just like, why did I not remember
Yeah,
that?
it says it has your picture and years of service on it.
Yep,
Mine noted that I could handle ammo because I had military clearance. This becomes important when he
it
reads
sure
all this stuff.
does.
It's issued by the U.S. Coast Guard and used in lieu of a passport, which is kind of
Yes.
awesome. Just by the
And
way,
also becomes important later.
in not the greatest way either.
In a very bad way.
Yeah, which is just fucky. But the fuckery.
Yeah,
Bureaucratic fuckery. Oh my
oh,
God.
poor
And I see
thing.
it all the time in my job. But anyway, the colonel is he instills this mission of we should go and support our guys in the neighborhood, bring them a beer, great cheer, and some show of support. That's what we should do. And it's like, who's up for the chat? Who wants to do this? He's like, Chick, you look like a guy who can do it. You can go over there, right? Hell, I'll take your card and do it for you. He's like,
He's like, we don't look the same.
no, because no, that won't
No,
work.
we're not gonna do that.
Chick has red hair. This guy is
Yeah,
like,
like
yeah, this other guy's not the same.
no.
I just laughed at that. So anyway, that was something that was interesting for me. So the next chapter, they're talking about Chick has to start gathering names. Got to
Yes.
figure out. Now this is pre-cell phone, pre-internet, pre-computer, so it's word of fucking mouth and
Yeah.
letter correspondence.
Yeah, so people are just coming to the bar and are like, "Hey, my brother, son, whatever is out and I think they're around here. Here's the last letter I got." And Chick's like, "Great. Fantastic." My favorite part of this chapter is the anecdote that Rick Duggan's grandma shipped him a bottle of whiskey hidden and cushioned in a loaf of Wonder Bread. Amazing. 10 out of 10 for grandma. Like,
There was another one that I think the Colonel did, and he couldn't ship a bottle of whiskey. So what he did instead is he took a
oh
bunch of
yeah.
beer posters,
Yep.
soaked them all in whiskey. He
Yeah.
said, put them in your mouth for however long, and
For a
you'll get
while, yeah. I
like
like that one too.
the brilliance of it all is just it's just that's the
The
kind of
innovation.
imagination, the kind of
Yeah.
imagination our kids these days just don't have.
No, they're like on iPads, and these guys are like, I'm gonna soak some coasters in beer and I'm gonna ship it to Vietnam. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
for our
great.
for our boys over there to get a little buzz on after
Or
patrol.
or I'm
Like,
gonna shove some whiskey in some Wonder Bread and I'm gonna ship it to my grandson.
hell yeah. Oh my God, it's just amazing. It's just that it's that ingenuity of, the labor of love kind of a thing. I
Exactly.
want them to know that I care, the care packages, and how do I
Yep.
do this under the radar? Because there's always like, oh, you can't send X, Y, and Z. That's contraband. Something to just lift their spirits to get through some hellish ordeal. Uh,
Exactly. Like they're
make
going through
sure
like bombs and stuff, but no whiskey.
you can't drink
No,
though.
thank
You can go
you.
get shot in the ass and
Yeah,
die, but you can't drink it.
literally.
Okay,
No,
that
thank
to me
you.
seems just a little screwbally to me. I've never
Little
agreed
ass
with that.
backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, completely bass backwards. I don't like it. I'm
Yeah.
all kidding. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I think one of the mothers gives him $100, which back then in the '60s was, healthy amount of cash.
Yeah, I did some cost comparisons later on in the book. It's when that one captain is like, "Oh, I can get you a job for like $2,500 a month or something."
They said it in the thing. Yeah.
He said his current amount. So he said it was like 8 times or something that, but I looked up like the exact amount. I want to
Oh, you did.
see $100 in 19 was what 67
Yeah. We'll get to
today.
that in the story too.
Yeah.
Merchant Marines don't make a whole lot of money in this. Or like they make a decent amount, but
I'm like, they make decent. So that would be $100. That's 2019. What the fuck? I said today.
well,
$100 in 1967 would be $932.36.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Inflation's a thing, man. That's crazy.
Insanity.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Anyway, so yeah,
Yeah.
during the next couple of chapters, he's kind of doubting his journey a little bit. Like, is this really the smartest thing I should be doing with myself? Should
Yeah.
I
He's
go
like,
to a
the beer gave me some courage, and now I'm sober.
don't make life-changing decisions when you're drunk.
Yes.
Potentially life-altering decision when you're drunk. That's just
Yeah,
dumb.
that's a good rule of thumb.
But what else are you gonna do? You don't have iPads.
Be boring.
Yeah, be boring. Don't go.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Not me.
I'm not necessarily wanting to
Not
go to
me.
war-torn Vietnam and run around like a crazy person. But anyway,
Whatever, it's mine.
so just to say, I would say it's probably not even worth justice the word. He is very resourceful.
Yeah.
I think resourceful is not a good enough word for the man.
No, it's like resourceful times like 50.
Finally, what he does is he loads up a bag. Apparently, how this works with merchant marines, you're on the beach for a while, which means that you're just shoreside, you're not working.
Yeah.
And whenever you want to go on a ship, you just show up to a location of, I can't remember where it was. You
It's
go
the
find,
National Maritime Union Hall. and we
Okay,
sat in an auditorium.
there you
Yeah.
go. And you basically are waiting for boats to come up. You're like, okay, I want to go on that one, or I don't know if I want to go on that one. This job's coming up, and then you basically show up. You say, hey, I'm so and so. I've been on the beach for this long. Here's my card. I have this many qualifications. And they go, okay, cool. Well, your boat leaves in 2 days, a week, a month, or it can be as quick as we're leaving in 4 hours.
Yeah.
Get your shit on the boat and go. And that's kind of what ends up happening. He brought a to-go bag just in case. And
Yep.
sure enough, the one he drops on, which is the Drake Victory, an old
Yes.
World War II boat that was refurbished to
Yep.
come back as to be used by the Merchant Marines. And they travel all around the world.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So he got on that. He went and picked up some essentials at the store. I think it was like a toothbrush and some socks or something. And then he
yep.
like called his parents and was like, "Yep, I'm out."
He also he loaded his duffel bag full of American beer because yes, while Vietnam has beer, sometimes it's swill, sometimes it's okay,
And it's not American.
not American beer. I mean, that's a taste of home is what he's trying
Yeah.
to provide for his buddies.
I laughed that PBR was one of them.
Oh,
It's
that's
like,
blue ribbon.
I
There
was
you
like,
go.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, it's just so funny. There's a beer that my father-in-law loves. He drank as a teen or uh 20s back in the day. New York 19 was legal. You could drink at 19. Back in the day in the 60s and in the let's see 70s at this point. And yeah, 19 and he there was a beer called Old Chub and it's
That's a
it's
name.
okay. It is a name. It's I've had it. It's okay. It's fine. It'll get the job done.
That's
It'll,
really all I care about,
yeah, it'll get the
honestly.
job get the job done. So but oh my God. But yeah, it's just that taste of nostalgia or home and that might kind of get them through the tour, hopefully. That's kind of the whole
Yeah.
point of this. So he's got
Good
his list
old
of
man.
names, he's got his bag of beer, his toothbrush, and his socks, and he's
Let's go.
off on the
Let's
boat.
go. Yep.
Yeah. So the voyage is interesting.
The first stop was in, I don't honestly, it's in Panama. Is it colon? Is it's I can't be
Cologne,
how to pronounce it.
Cologne,
Cologne. Okay.
Cologne.
I was like, there ain't no way that
We're
that's
going
colon.
cold. Oh shit, come out of there.
My American is showing.
All
And
over
they,
too.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
They filled up with bunker fuel. And he said that the National Maritime Union regulations require that the crew be paid half of their salary to the point where they went on shore. And he said at that time, US dollars went a very long way in Panama. So they partied like, he goes, like, it was my last trip. And I kind of felt it might be.
Well, yeah, he's going to
Um,
Vietnam. It's during
and
the
he's not
war. Who the
in
hell
the
knows?
military anymore.
Yeah. There's a serious war happening right now. They're fighting the commies,
Yeah. I,
fighting
I
North
mean,
Vietnam.
it's wild. It's
Yeah.
wild over there when he gets there. So, and
Hmm.
then he gets back on the ship for another month. I was like, Jesus,
Yeah,
across
I
the
think
Pacific to Vietnam.
was it a month? It was five
That's what I
days.
put. I think. I wrote it
That
in
you know what
there.
that
That
sounds
was
right. Yeah,
right.
that sounds right. I think you're
Okay.
right because it was 5 days from New Jersey where the port was to Panama Canal, going through the locks and everything. I think that took a couple of days, um, a day or so to pass the canal,
5 days.
and then
Yeah.
okay, and then after that they followed the equator for a while. Apparently, the reason why they follow the equator and they go out, then they're following these munitions or big old tankers. If
Yeah.
something were to happen, like a fire were to break out or they got blown up, it would only affect the tanker. So
Yeah.
what was interesting that I didn't know, but like it makes sense that okay, you could take them out of harbor and just follow the coast kind of closely, no problem. Problem is if it goes boom boom, you now only affect not only affect the boat, the crew, you now are affecting people on shore and infrastructure there. Like,
Which is the problem.
oh, so yeah, you're double dicked.
Yeah.
If you do end up getting off alive out in the middle, you are so far from shore, you're screwed. But
Yeah.
I'd rather, I mean, I hate to say it, I'd rather the whole crew in the boat die than kill a bunch of people on shore that had nothing to do with it. It sounds terrible, but
Yeah, then plus a bunch of civilians.
right, plus a bunch of civilians, which is just, yeah,
Yeah,
anyway.
it
Yeah.
looks like he says we got back on board the Drake Victory for the month-long voyage across the Pacific to Vietnam.
Okay.
And that's when he said we followed the equator most of the way with our cargo of ammo. We had to stay out of the shipping lanes. We didn't
Yeah.
see a boat, see a plane. We never saw an island.
The fact that you're on your own little island, moving island, going 13 miles an hour, 13 knots at about 15 miles an hour across the freaking world. I'm like, holy crap.
Chug
And
along.
he talks about he's a union steward on there, so he's handling all the issues with disputes, and the captains apparently like that because they don't have to deal with it, and you have the union
Yeah,
steward to go to. He also mentions
yeah.
he's not a huge fan of sea captains
He is not.
because they're all powerful.
He does not have, he does not have great experience with them because they can be dicks.
They can be dictators. Yeah,
Yeah.
they can be dicks and dictators. Dictator. I think there
Yeesh.
goes into some kind of thing about Drake, like apparently, I think that's who it was. Actually, oh, was it Drake? The actual explorer Drake that came from like the all-powerful sea captain kind of came from that because
Oh
you had
yeah.
sea captain and you had a co-captain. So apparently they had a disagreement and the co-captain was killed by the other captain and made all powerful or something. He's like, I don't like that. So yeah.
Yeah, he simply accused him of witchcraft and beheaded him.
Ah,
It's like,
off
fuck
with your
you.
head.
Bye.
Off with your head.
I forgot about that. I should have written that down.
There you go.
Yeah.
I a lot of this stuff just sticks in my head and it's just freaking interesting.
Well, I was reading this, I was thinking about growing up, me and you would sit in the kitchen in Paulsbo and talk about history for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
It was mostly you because I didn't know shit about history and I still don't really know that much, but it was always super interesting. And so, like, reading this, that's what I thought of, especially when he's like, oh, yeah, so I went and did this. And then, like, here's the backstory of that and why that's important. And then, like, okay. So
Yeah.
I was like, this feels like I'm talking to Ryan. Like, this feels like he's like
Well,
explaining this
that's
whole
why I
thing.
like teaching so much is because I can throw random little tidbits in there that
Yeah.
it's because I like a lot of different topics. And so this is just beautiful. It just goes into I want a little snippet of something. I don't need the whole deep background on why this and why that. I want to know a little bit, but I've always loved the history aspect of people were involved, something crazy happened. I never liked the
Yeah.
dry horse crap of history. It's not like, I love the intimate, gritty, weird, wacky, insane details of history.
Yes.
Yeah, the dates, all that, there are
Yeah.
names and dates are okay, but I want
Yeah. Whatever.
events.
It's nice because he's informative without being like dry and like a textbook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what I've had problems with certain historical books like this,
Yeah.
memoirs or other things like that. It's like I have a hard time reading some of those because it's just facts based. I want event based. I need a
Yes.
story because that's how I remember things. Everyone remembers things with
Exactly.
stories better than anything.
Yeah.
So that's how I teach too. I try to do as much stories as I can
Which is
within
how
reason.
yeah, there's like some, I don't know any factualness behind this, but I apparently people tend to remember stories, especially when emotions are tied to it.
Mhm.
So like
That's correct.
skipping ahead in the book where he thinks he's dead, like I vividly remembered that part because I was like, can you even imagine like going through that and then seeing someone and being like, holy shit, I'm not dead. Like that's crazy. Like that one part always stuck out to me in the book.
Okay, well, yeah, when you can actually tie emotions to
Yeah.
things, it's really big. That's why whenever I do, I start before I start like a training off, and there a lot of the trainings are very dry because it's
Yeah.
very okay, information, information, information. I start off with a
Yeah.
story that's kind of jarring because it elicits an emotional response, so you're more capable, you're more able to be open to other information. And so if you talk about something that blew up or someone died or got terribly injured, it's like, oh, yeah, this is why we have these regulations because someone died, someone got terribly mangled, someone got hurt, and like, oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
especially for the dry ones, I like
Oh
this is gonna
yeah.
be boring, guys. I apologize, but here's
It
why
can be
it's
annoying.
important. Oh,
My
I'm honest. I'm not
well,
I'm not
yeah, my
bullshitting.
driving instructor actually, which I think you went to NDS, right, for driving school?
I don't remember.
I think you did. But the driving instructor, he was like, we've only ever had one student die that came out of our training, and it's because they swerved away from an animal that was in the middle of the road. So, like, if there's an animal, don't swerve because you're either going off the road or into incoming traffic. What's the best case scenario is a little damage to your car and not losing your life. And so I've always remembered that. And that was 12 years ago that I went through that. And I still vividly remember that day because I was like, ooh, don't like that.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've done it before. I was driving with can't remember who it was, but something came in the middle of the road and I swerved.
Mhm.
Nothing was coming this way, thankfully, but
Yeah.
I was told hit the animal.
Yep.
Like, but no, hit the animal.
I'm like, I will probably throw up if that day ever happens. Because I just yeah. But I mean, it's me or them at that point. Like I'm in a however
Oh
many ton
yeah.
car against, whatever. Like
Well,
I'm gonna probably be okay.
funny story. I was driving. I was still 16. I was just barely, no, 15. I think I was 15. And so driving with grandma in her car.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So of course she had the like gold, kind of gold
Yeah.
looking. I'm not even sure what kind of
With
car it
the
was.
I I wanna say it was like a Honda or a Toyota or something.
I want to
She had,
say it was a
like, the
Toyota.
fuzzy car seat
It
covers.
had fuzzy car seat
Yeah.
covers, very soft, very
Yep, the white
soft.
ones. Yep.
And I remember her driving up our very steep hill and she was just it might as well have been Speed Racer and it was just holy crap, you're flying off this thing. But anyway, when I would drive, she was like, give it a little gas. I was a little more reserved with learning to drive because I didn't want to die. I was not terribly confident
Shocker.
first. I know, right? Anyway, so it took me a
Yeah.
little longer to get used to the gas and everything. I was worried about it. Anyway,
Yeah.
got over that. I'm driving her car. She came to pick me up, and I was like, "Can I drive your car?" Yeah, sure. So we're driving up, and we're going up and down the huge hills by the old Bremerton house, by the
Yeah.
water there, by Ellie State
Mhm.
Park. And all of a sudden, a pheasant runs out in the middle of the road. Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh no!" And Grandma's like, "Go straight, just keep going, keep going." And this
Fuck
bird, no
the
kidding,
bird.
the bird jumps last second over the nose of the car, and actually I see pheasant ass, boop, feathered pheasant ass hit the windshield and kind of I hear it roll across the car, and I look in the rear view mirror, and the thing gets up and just runs off the side of the road. It's fine.
Oh my
Like a
god.
dodgeball. Bounced like a feathery dodgeball.
Holy that's
And it didn't
wild.
even phase her. She's like, yeah, it's okay.
That sounds right.
Didn't
Not
even
much
phase
for
her.
this grandma, to be
Like,
fair.
I mean, she was, she grew up during Great Depression and she had
She was like, throw it
1,800.
at me, it's fine.
She had 1,800 siblings. I mean, okay, she had 14, but whatever, 16, 15, a lot. She'd seen some things. She'd seen some things. She grew with the
Well, she
hard
was born in
streets of North
22.
Dakota.
So yeah. Hankinson, that tiny little town, rough and tumble.
Tiny little town. Moved over here to the
Like
hard
living with
streets of
it.
Bremerton. Bremerton's a harder street than Hankinson.
I would say so. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway. Oh God.
Oh god.
All right. We're back. We
That
are
tangent's over.
we are good at tangents here.
We
So
are.
we're
That
so
is
good.
like our full-time job.
I know. I wish it would be. I'd have a lot more fun at work. Um, on the I love this. So apparently being a union steward, he's allowed more liberties on the vessels for like leave and certain things of accommodations, which is kind of cool for him. But he has
Yes.
to deal with the group discouragements or disagreements and more responsibilities shipboard. What was funny was he's dealing with these groups who are like, hey, we have responsibilities to take care of on the boat, and people weren't liking it. They're trying to figure out better shift times and who's cleaning up after what. A lot of
Yeah.
just petty bullshit that still's got to get done, right?
Yeah.
Well, apparently there is a fire on board the munition ship.
Yeah.
you can know that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So and what was funny, he notes that no one stopped and goes, "That's your job to put the fire out. That's your job to put the fire out. No, you put the fire out." With little petty bullshit. No, everyone shut the hell up and they went and put the damn fire out. Otherwise, they'd all die.
Yeah, it was nobody asked whose job is this. It was everybody put it out now, and we did. For the rest of the voyage, we all helped out one another.
Yeah, exactly. And I said, nothing unifies a crew better than a good old-fashioned fire emergency.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Because
But then after a while, they passed by an island, and he's pretty sure that was the Philippines, and then arrived in
yeah.
Vietnam.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
great times, great oldies, good times, great oldies.
Gotta love fires.
Yeah, and fire. So
Woo!
he's already starting his journey off a little, excited,
Spicy.
a little spicy.
A little spicy.
Rather spicy. Mm. Okay.
Ooh.
So he's off. They anchor off of Quainon,
Yep.
Quainon or
Yep.
Queenon.
Quainon, I think.
Okay, I'm not Vietnamese, and I'm not gonna look it up right now. So it's
I am very not Vietnamese, but I will look it up right now.
oh you overachiever. Fine, be that way.
I'm your sister. Are you surprised?
No,
Exactly.
no, I'm not. Sounded like
Quainon.
Eeyore now. There's a lot of Vietnamese names in
Quainon.
here. I'm not gonna. Yeah, there's a lot.
Oh, Queenon, you're right.
But I knew it was Quai or Qui. Queenon.
I thought it was. I think it's because I'm thinking of Qui-Gon Jinn is what I was thinking of. I was like, it's got to be that, right?
I'm pulling back, Vietnamese 101 from college. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I took hands.
yeah. There was no Vietnamese 101.
I'm fully aware. Yeah,
Yeah, there. Well, you know me, but the people listening might not know me. So
this is true. Yeah,
hard
that's very
sarcasm.
true.
Most of what I say is sarcasm, unless it's not, then I'm dead serious. So
Exactly. Yeah,
always, always.
that's how that works.
Okay, so that the quick chapter there, he thinks, looking at his notes, and oh how naive he was, as he says, he asks for 3 days of liberty.
Oh
He's able
God.
to, then the captain doesn't give a shit if you're on the boat or not during this port time, as long as the work gets
Yeah.
done. So he's able to like trade shifts. He worked a bunch of doubles so he could trade shift with guys on board, and that way he
Yep.
cleared 3 days,
Yep.
which worked out. He's like, oh, I'll be back in 3 days. You're going in country to find like 8 people. 3 days?
I know. He goes, I thought that was how long my voyage would take. I guess I was a little naive. Just a touch. Just a touch, John.
I laugh even more now after reading the whole story. Like,
I know. I was like, because my recollection was like, it was a rough journey, but I forgot all of the shit that happens.
yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I think it's like a week. And it's like way longer than a week. He's stuck there.
Yeah, I figured, you know what? It was funny. I was like, 5 days.
Tops.
5 days, maybe 6. And no. Yeah. So he convinces the captain, and he's like, I want to go see my stepbrother because I've got some devastating news to tell him.
Yeah.
Devastating news.
Can't be too
Oh.
specific, but
No. Be
yeah.
very vague. Just like your
Very
game that you guys brought over that one time. That was good. What game did you guys bring over that had like you had different groups
Oh,
of
Mole?
people? What?
The Mole.
Yeah, the mole. Yeah.
Love that game.
I had fun.
It's a good time. It's
It
a
was
real
a
good
good
time.
time.
If you guys
Yeah.
haven't played it, play it. There's also a Netflix show.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Mhm.
so his first venture is to go look for a guy named Thomas
Tommy
Collins.
Collins?
Tommy
Yeah.
Collins. Chuckles'
Tommy
brother.
Collins. Yeah.
Chuckles' brother. Anyway,
Chuckles brother.
I'll say right now, he gets lucky.
He that's he as trying to word for how like messed up his trip becomes, he's also kind of really lucky
Very fortunate, yeah.
at times. Yeah.
I mean, he
Like
really is. Literally the first like 2 hours in, he finds a guy on his list. He's like, holy crap, this is gonna be this easy. I'll be done in 2 days. I mean, that's probably not what he said. He didn't say that.
LOL.
He's probably thinking that. Oh, 3 days. We plenty of time to
Yeah,
relax a little bit and go
I'll be
back on.
good.
And, yeah, I'll be back
This
before you
time?
know it. Yeah. So,
No,
so
that's
he
not
gets
what happened.
lucky. He's looking. He asks a couple MPs, military police, who are guarding the port, if they know a Tommy Collins. And they go, Tommy Collins from New York. He's like, yeah. He goes, actually, we're gonna go relieve him right now. No shit.
That's incredible.
What a thing. So yeah. Uh
OMG.
he finds Tommy Collins. He is shocked that his buddy Chicky is there and gives him a beer and they
Yep.
spend the day and the evening hanging out, bullshitting,
Yeah.
spend the night in the barracks. It's pretty cool.
I loved when they're at I think it's when they come back and there was a lieutenant like questioning why he was there.
Just about to say
And
that.
he's like, I don't know what possessed me, but I said to him in an authoritative voice, Lieutenant, on what authority are you questioning these men? We are on a particular mission here tonight, and I suggest you return to your barracks. The lieutenant clammed up, turned around, and went back inside.
Yeah. He's talking to an officer like that.
He's like,
He's a
I'm not
civilian.
military, I don't care.
No. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Court martial me? Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. I
He
guess they all
called
thought
it.
he was a
What's
CIA
that?
agent. They
Yeah,
thought he was, yeah.
he called the CIA effects. I'm like, because apparently he was wearing like a white shirt and like was it
So
white shirt and like slacks?
I think it's jeans,
Jeans?
but I thought it was a white shirt too. But the pictures in here, he's wearing plaid.
He's wearing a plaid shirt, but I don't know. I thought I said a white shirt.
That's what I thought too, but in all these pictures, he's wearing plaid. But I
I mean,
think
he
he
could have
might have
had,
an undershirt on, but I can't really tell from the pictures.
I don't
Oh
know, but
yeah, he does.
okay,
In
he's
his,
wearing,
I don't know if you'll be able to see it in his passport picture. You can see the undershirt.
oh, okay.
So he probably had the plaid shirt in his bag and was wearing the white shirt. Because I was looking at the pictures and I was like, I vividly
Yeah,
remember you saying white shirt.
yep. I'm like, he had to have been wearing a white shirt. That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So
Anyway,
he had like the CIA effect on people. So he could talk to all these guys, and as long as he wasn't too specific, they
yeah, he was good.
assumed that this person was supposed to be here.
He's in plain clothes.
He's there. He's who in their right mind would be in a war zone unless they had something to do.
Voluntarily.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind is the answer to that.
That chick Donahue.
Except Chick Donohue,
That chick
exactly.
Donahue. Which
Is he
God
in his
bless
right
him.
mind?
You know what? Who cares? He wasn't hurting anybody. He was, he's
Not
helping people out. He's helping the boys stay positive and focused
exactly.
on their work. So yeah, he gives Tommy Collins good beer and they spend a great time together. They're reminiscing, they're bullshitting, they're telling great stories. Um and yeah, that's it. And then he's like, I gotta go find the other guys. So
Yep.
he sleeps in the barracks next day he wakes up and he's got to try to find his way to the next stop.
I love that Tommy tried to like escort him off, and the sergeant's like, no. So
Oh,
Chick's like, all right, bye.
can I go with him? No, you have
Absolutely
orders.
not.
You
Oh,
are on
okay.
duty, you idiot. What are you doing? You can't. But I mean, I'll be
He's
in
like, it's my
Vietnam
buddy.
still.
Okay, it's fine.
He
Yeah.
was apparently a young kid, was like 19.
I think a lot of these kids were like 19 to like maybe mid 20s.
I think the oldest he had, oh yeah, no, I think the couple of the older guys, the because yeah, he was like in his mid 20s. Because
I
at
think so,
26, he
yeah.
was deemed the old guy,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So unless
Yeah.
you go up through
Yeah.
the ranks, you're not staying a private forever at 20, mid 20s. You're usually going to be someone with authority to some degree. You've seen some stuff by
Exactly.
that time, especially in wartime. So we're on to chapter 7 now.
We sure are.
What happens, Emily? What
Yeah.
happens?
Dun dun dun. Chick meets a Texan sergeant in a bar or in the
Yeah.
bar he was at with Tommy and the bunkmates and everything, and he agreed to help fly Chick to where the First Air Cavalry division's Bravo company was at, which is where Rick Duggan is stationed currently.
Okay.
So he was like, "Yeah, I can help you get on a plane." It's fine.
Yeah, he's like, hey man, I don't have orders to go there. He goes, I don't give a shit about orders. I can
Yeah,
care less about orders. Like, oh,
whatever.
sweet, this helps.
Solid.
You don't care, I don't care. Let's go. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's about it. He takes him on a 1300. Was informed. Yeah, ran to the sergeant. Was informed of a mail run heading out at 1300 hours, 1 o'clock for
Yep.
you non-military folk, to
Yep.
head north where Dugan, whatever his name is, Rick Dugan, was at the time. So and it was 1200 hours. So he had a good hour to get to that airfield and get his butt.
Yeah. So thank God for that sergeant.
Yeah, that wonderful sergeant there. So good times. A lot of these are pretty
Yeah, and
short
then I
chapters, which I really appreciated. There's no nonsense.
yes, I love it. Yeah, he was pretty good at getting his point across, giving like necessary background
Yeah.
or like stuff kind of made more sense. I don't know, but yeah, he did. I think he did a really good job with
He did the
this
nitty
book.
gritty details. He did the necessary details.
Yeah,
He didn't go
yeah.
into, what everyone was wearing and everything. No, he didn't give a shit. It wasn't that. It was this.
I walked in the bar and Tommy's in his fatigues. Like it's
Yeah, I
like
mean,
great.
I
Figured, but
it was extremely basic. It's like, hey, he was there. Oh, cool. What's up, man? And they do a quick dialogue.
exactly.
That was it. That was it.
We
So,
hugged. He chugged beer. Everyone was happy. Like, great.
and there was much rejoicing. Yay. Have you
Yeah.
seen Monty Python?
I've seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail like years ago.
Okay.
It's
That's one
been
of
a
that
while.
was one of the thing. That was one of the thing. And there was much rejoicing.
Yeah.
Yay. Sorry. Nerd alert.
I
Okay.
vaguely because I watched it with at least probably you and Chris, maybe you, Chris and AJ. I definitely
Yeah.
watched it with you guys
We
for
loved it.
show.
I loved it. It's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's so bad, but I love it. It's so bad.
I need to watch it again. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, drink
Yeah.
while you're watching it. That helps.
Oh,
British humor is
absolutely.
dry. British humor is dry,
Yes.
but I like it. All right,
Chapter
so we
8.
get chapter 8 and the Good Samaritan in Anke. I think it's called Anke. Anke. Looked familiar. So he gets to this airstrip. He finally lands after the Texans able to drop him off, and there's not a lot around. So he's like, I gotta find my way. There's a road there, kind of. What was it?
Okay.
Hey, just trust me with everything, okay?
No.
Fair. I wouldn't trust you with everything either.
Yeah.
Pronunciation, sure, maybe. 80%,
I was gonna say 80-20, maybe.
80-20. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So on the road, a Jeep drives up, and I said, more dumb, awesome luck.
Absolutely.
The
That's what I
guy,
mean by like he's pretty lucky.
yeah.
So,
I mean, the first, so what we're meaning by that is this guy pulls up and goes, hey man, are you going somewhere? Like, yeah, I need to go to this whatever location. And sure as shit, it's Kevin McClune, one of his
yep.
guys on his list. So in less than 2 days,
Yep.
he's found two of the guys he's wanting to meet up and chat with. And
Yep.
yeah, which is just crazy. So
My favorite part is that Kevin doesn't look at him. Like he just sees a guy, stops, and is like, "Where you going?" He tells him. He hops in as he's like explaining stuff. Kevin's like, "I know that voice." And like, turns out I was like, "Oh shit, it's Chicky!" Like, oh
yeah,
crap,
Chicky, what are you doing here?
my god.
Why are you here? Weren't they gonna
Um,
pass him? They thought he was like apparently he had a beard at the time, or did he pass and they thought he was like some kind of French guy?
I think
Maybe that
he's
was a
like
different one. Was that a different one?
not mistaken for a friend, but there's a few times where they think he's something else, and then they're like, "Oh no, it's not him." I just passed
I can't
something.
remember.
That's not even the right chapter. um, I
It was either
wish
that or a different time.
it. I mean, I think it happens a couple of times.
Yeah, I think it
Um,
was just like, oh, you know what? I don't think it was this time. I think it was later on, and he was like yelling
yeah,
at,
I think
"Hey
you're right.
guys!" Like they didn't stop for him. The first guys didn't stop for him.
Yeah,
It was a different episode here or chapter here, in saying that,
yeah. I think they thought that he didn't speak English or something. They thought he was some other guy, and then he speaks it, and they're like,
oh, you're
"Oh, okay."
American. Oh shit. Okay, cool. Let's yeah. Yeah, I love this. So they don't get to hang around too much with Kevin McClune, but he gives him the beer.
Yep.
They chat for a little bit. He says hi to
Yep.
his guys there, and he gets to board the 1300 mail drop. So going from to that where the Texan is, literally, he
Perfect
meets the
amount of
guy.
time.
Yeah, he meets him for they talk for a little bit, and then he boards the 1300 mail drop plane by appearing confident,
Yes.
which
Because they're like, all right, what's the, put your name down. And he puts Donohue civilian. And the guy's like,
yeah,
all
whatever.
right.
You're a civvy, whatever. I found like
Yeah.
when I was going through all my
Yeah.
qualifications, getting all my quals for my job last shop, I was told like, okay, if you don't know something, if there's a question, regardless if you are 100% or you're 50% sure, you say it confidently,
Yeah.
or they will question you on everything. Because then if they correct you, you go, I did not know that. I apologize. What's the correct answer? And then that's
Yeah.
it. End of conversation. But if you're like, well, it might be this, it might be that, it might be, and then they're like, now they're wishy-washy about your whole entire knowledge and they
Mm-mm.
break you down. It's like for oral boards, it sucks.
Yeah.
You're in a room with two or sometimes three people who are shooting questions at you for 3 hours. Yeah, it's fun. I've
Ew.
had I've had like six of these.
Ew.
Yeah, it's gross. And that's you've passed this so you can get more responsibilities so you can make more money. Like
Yeah.
this is the whole part of this. And like
So ew.
if they're like, what color is the sky? You go, it's green. No, sir, it's not green. I disagree. It's green. I was told on all my references, blah, 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 it is green. Actually, according to this, it is blue. Looks like you're correct. I will remember that. It is blue. Like that's how you talk.
So Chris does that. And me and my best friend Maddie have talked about it because her husband's in the shipyard and obviously Chris is in the shipyard. Both of them will say things so confidently that her and I, fully knowing the answer is wrong, will question ourselves.
Yeah.
Because Chris one time was sick and he was like, oh, well, if it's viral, you can treat it with antibiotics. And if it's bacterial, you can't. And I was like,
Wrong.
I was like, no. But then I was like, am I wrong? And I was like, no, 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 I'm not wrong. I was like, no, for sure. And I was like, but I think you mean bacterial you can treat with antibiotics. He was like, oh, yeah, yeah, you're right. But I was like, for a second, I was like, hold on. Is my life a lie? Like,
It's my life a lie.
I
And you're one
actually
who actually
nervous.
works like in the medical-esque world.
I worked in doctor's offices. I worked in PT office. I work in medical authorizations right now. And I have a piece of shit immune system and I have been sick many times. I know what antibiotics can and can't
You're
treat.
basically a
Like,
nurse.
practically,
Medical
you
assistant. Let's
know,
just say medical assistant.
honorary, honorary
Honorary.
nurse, you
Yeah,
know.
maybe. I wouldn't even go that far.
I
Maybe I
would
would. I don't know. I'm not a
probably give you an
doctor.
IV.
I don't know.
I'm not a doctor.
Anyway, anywho.
But anywho,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, so he's now found two guys in a very short amount of time, which
Yep.
is great, just by acting confident and having the CIA effect and being
Exactly.
awesomely lucky. Awesome dumb luck.
Yes.
Now we're on to chapter 9, and they finally land him in the LZ Tombstone.
Which is sketchy.
It's a cool name though.
It's cool. Landing in Tombstone, I'd be like,
You know why it was called Tombstone, right?
no. He
It was
might have gone into it, but I don't remember.
he said it was a really quick note. Like that's what I love about him. It was just really quick note. It was because there was like a cemetery next to it or on it or wherever, and a lot of headstones were there. So landing zone Tombstone. That's all it
I'm not
was.
gonna.
Yeah. At this LZ Tombstone, he ends up meeting like a major, which is pretty big in the, the military. A major is pretty up there.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
guy thinks he's CIA. He doesn't like come out and ask if he's in the CIA, but he definitely treats him. He's like, "Hey, have you eaten today?" And he's like, "Nope." He feeds him like this really great meal. And I love this line. He goes, he might have never been past like a private first class, but I'm a 4-star general at slinging bullshit.
I love that line. I was like, that's amazing. I can't really BS to save my life.
Oh
I am
man.
I am a terrible liar. I am terrible at making things up on the spot. I do not have a quick wit. So like And having you and Chris as brothers, and then my Chris is my boyfriend, who all have a very quick wit and are amazing at slinging bullshit. I'm just stuck with a comeback of like, you suck. And then I like run away. Like, that's what I got. I have nothing. So I really need to take some lessons from him. Because I'm up a creek with no paddle,
What's
like
funny
against
is
you
like I
guys.
don't even think sometimes I don't think I have a quick wit at all, but it's like depending on the person I'm with, it really does.
I think it depends on if you're relaxed or not. Because if
It
you're more
oh,
stressed out, I don't think it's gonna come naturally. Yeah.
100%. I
Yeah.
found that as time has gone on, like my confidence level and my cool, because as long as I'm cool, calm, and collected, I can just
Yeah.
throw all sorts of weird stuff at people, and it's better now being an instructor. My stress levels have gone lower because I'm
Yeah.
used to being in front of 15 people to 150 people,
Yeah.
and you as you do it more often, you just get more relaxed, and you get more
Yeah.
relaxed, you're able to play with things a little more. So like I said, I had a group of people yesterday. Most of them were my peers in my office. They had to come to a training, and I'm like, I really don't want to be doing this, but I have to. And one
Yeah.
was like my director, and I'm like, I'm just gonna play with it because and have fun. You just call people out and make funny jokes, or
Yeah.
what I think is funny jokes. Doesn't mean you like to. I don't care. At least I have fun. It's just fun. You have to. The wit
With my
comes naturally, hopefully.
Exactly.
It
With my
does.
Chris, he's great with obviously being cool, calm, and collected. But if he's agitated or if he wants to mess with you, it gets like next level. And
Oh,
then I'm
really?
like shocked. Like I have no words. Like it'll usually be really funny, but I'm just like, I have absolutely no comeback. Like that knocked me down 16 pegs and I'm in the ground. Like I have nothing to come back with. Like I'm like, all right, so and I'll make sometimes I'll have like one comeback, and then he goes like six times higher,
Oh,
and then I'm like, so that's done. All right, I'm tapping out.
you can go like one or two
Cool,
layers
great.
max, and then after that, it's beyond that. I can. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
You've heard Topher's and my just ridiculousness. It's just
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
We're like completely different people telling stories. But yeah, I mean, this is what I really loved about this story was
Yeah.
I felt that kind of camaraderie, not maybe not to the extent, but like when you're working with people on anything really on a crew, you
Yeah.
develop this kind of when you have good chemistry, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of razzing, and it's
Yeah.
all in good nature, it's all in good fun, and we would just swear all the time, and
Yeah.
we're calling each other names, and we don't mean it. We're just like, if I'm not screwing with you, I don't like you.
Absolutely.
And that is something that's like, if I am just my normal, I'm gonna go with the word polite to you
Yeah.
all the time, I don't like you.
Yeah.
If I am razzing you and or having a good time telling stories, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
But like I love that part of being a part of a crew. I
Yeah.
love that just kind of bullshit. We can go from being dead serious to getting the job done to razzing
Yeah.
and just causing all sorts of hell. And I love that just quick change. I don't
Yeah.
know
That's
what it
the
is.
best kind of chemistry to
It's
have with a
with
team.
with people. It's just fun. It's just fun. You get a good
Yeah.
bond that way.
Yeah.
It makes a day go by a little better too. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Absolutely.
yeah. Anyway,
Oh, so much better.
he's able to now, after he figures out from the major that there's a chopper leaving at 1800, heading to LZ Jane, which is his next kind of go-to. He's got to get there. So he hops in and takes off for the next place.
Yep.
I think the pilots bust his chops, something about him farting in the helicopter.
I wrote about that. So it's yeah, in the helicopter flight, to where they're going, chick farts apparently, and it's like super bad.
Yeah,
And so then everyone on the plane is giving him shit, and the pilot literally cuts the engine and is like, "We got to get out of the plane,"
in
and they all
air.
burst out laughing. Yeah, in midair, they're like, so they start dropping, and chick's like, "What the fuck?" And then they're like, "LOL." And they turn the engine back on. They're like,
Yeah.
"That was
Ha
funny."
ha. Is your colon empty yet? Good.
Not it should be.
Well,
Like,
and also in Vietnam, those helicopters they're flying, they have the fucking doors open
yeah,
because it's quick in and out, in and out, in and out. They're not sitting there
I gotta
waiting,
throw the doors.
refueling. It's down, get rid of, leave. down,
Yeah.
get on, leave. It's nothing. We're not
Yeah.
screwing around here because the longer they stay there, the faster the VC can come and cause havoc. So they had to get people in and
Exactly.
out stupid fast. So
Yeah.
anyway, Chapitre 10, D8,
Yes.
if you will.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, what's he do next? What's he do next? Let's look at the shorty.
It is a shorty. I've got like 2 paragraphs here. Not
Hmm.
even. Chick gets off the helicopter. A sergeant major, yells, "Who's this guy?" And there's a weary kid from the helicopter that like did not want to talk to Chick at
Oh
all. He was like,
yeah.
"You're sketchy. I don't want nothing to do with you." And Chick's like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." And he's like, "This guy's been following us. Like, I want nothing to do with them." And then so Chick tells the sergeant major like why he's there, and the sergeant's like, "Oh, that's hilarious." And then they become like buddies after that. And the other guy's
That's
like, "What the hell?"
it's so funny though. Like this is the kind of crap that it's like, that's awesome. It's
Yeah,
dumb,
like,
but it's
yeah.
awesome. Happy to help.
Do
That's the
you
kind of crap
do you
that happens
remember
all the time.
it's constantly to him? Do you remember Cheaper by the Dozen when they stick the boyfriend's underwear in meat for the dog to come and bite him?
No.
Oh god, so good. So the siblings don't like one of the sister's boyfriends. It's Ashton Kutcher, and they take his boxers and they soak it in like raw ground beef, and then he puts them on, and the dog comes up and bites him. And so the dad, who also doesn't like the boyfriend, is like, "That was funny, but wrong." And so that's kind of like what I thought of like, "That's hilarious. You probably shouldn't be here, but that's really funny." Like,
That was half the prank. So like again, down in my crew, we couldn't have phones. It's like
yeah,
PSNs. We can't have phones. We
yeah,
are basically stuck in the 80s. No phones, no tablets, no music except for like CDs.
yeah,
We have CDs, we have books and newspaper. Nothing wrong with that. Magazines, everything, that's
yeah,
fine. It actually made for, in my opinion, a closer crew because we don't have
yeah,
these damn things, these phones to kind of segregate yourself from everybody. You had to be a part of the group in some regard. You were part of the conversation, whether you were listening or contributing to it.
yeah,
And oh my God, just the tomfoolery and the pranks and the we're bored because we're waiting on a job or waiting on something to
yeah,
pop up. And
yeah.
we should do this. It sounds really dumb or really gross, but it would be funny.
We're gonna do it anyways.
There's so
Yeah,
many jokes, so many pranks that just came out of boredom.
yeah.
And could we get away with this? Yes.
Let's try it.
Let's try.
We can do that. Let's try
We
it.
might get slapped on the wrist. Ah,
I can
whatever.
handle that.
Look, there was one that a guy just decided he was going to so okay, swing shift. So it's fall time. So of course it's getting darker earlier.
Yeah,
And this one guy, he's from Hawaii. He had bought this fake plush rat that looked like a real rat. I mean, it felt like apparently it looked like felt like one. I don't know. Especially in the darker areas, you couldn't tell whether it was real or not.
could you imagine scaring mom with that?
Yes, I could. It would be fabulous.
Anyways,
So, and it was big. It was, a good 8, 10 inches long
I'm
and
like king boy
with a
thighs.
big old tail on it too. So, I mean, and it looked stringy. It was skin-like. So he's putting this on things. We had this little gal, a little Filipino gal, and she's tiny. She's like 5 foot flat, maybe a little shorter. She always said, I'm 5 foot exactly. Like, oh, you are. I think you're shorter than that, but whatever. It's your boots that makes you taller.
How's that be funny?
She was our forklift driver, and we called
Yeah,
it her Cadillac. Okay, it was her caddy. So we were
yeah,
like, hey, go get your caddy. We need this moved here. Okay, cool, gotcha. She was awesome. She'd sling shit with the next guy. It was great.
yeah.
Absolutely loved her. So this guy Sai is what his name was from Hawaii. He brought his rat. He put it on her caddy, and she get on there, and she's like, oh my God. And she, freak out and jump off. Well, he had done this for like 2, 3 days. And so by the time
Yeah,
she's plenty wise to it, she's like,
yeah.
Sigh, this is just wrong. Stop doing this. This is pathetic now. Well, a different guy was walking down some alleyway and found a actual dead rat. Yeah.
Oh no.
And it's so weird. He hates disgusting things, but he had no problem picking up the dead rat, walking it over to her Cadillac or forklift, placing it onto the seat. No kidding. And so when she came up, she's like, "Sigh, I'm sick of this crap," and goes to move it and realizes it's not the plush one. Comes down and yells at him because
Oh,
she thinks that it was him. He's like, "I didn't do that one. I'll claim mine." And then the other guy is laughing in the corner, cackling like an idiot.
oh my
My
god.
dead rat.
I
Just because we want to have a good time.
Oh my god, that's insanity.
And then he moved on to prank our supervisor with the dead rats
Fantastic.
under the
You got
copier.
you gotta move up. You can
Under
only
the
go up from
copier,
there.
of course. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Is doing crap like that. Oh, and farts are also absolutely fair game. Farts are fair game. That's a part of entertainment. Farts are entertainment.
That's Chris's whole family farts are fair game, so I'm just used to that now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. Anywho.
okay, back to where we're at. So,
Yeah.
all right. So where are we?
So Chick just met the sergeant, and then he tells them that he's looking for Rick Dugan, whatever. And so they hide him in a hole, and they bring Rick around, and then
Yeah,
Chick like jumps out and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And then Chick's
yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm here to bring you beer." And he's like, "No, no, really. Like, what are you
What are
doing
you
here?" And he's
doing?
like, "No, really. I'm actually here to bring you a beer." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
This is fantastic. Yeah, so I think it's amazing. And so him and Rick get to spend some time together. They actually take Chick out on the perimeter because in this, think
Yep.
of a big circle. That circle is entrenched with
Yep.
soldiers who are watching the perimeter and
Hmm.
of the base. It's pretty crazy. I don't know if it was a base necessarily, but it's definitely a contingent of soldiers, a place where people are. And it's an LZ, a landing zone.
Yeah.
And so one of the guys asked, "Wait a minute, you don't have to be here, and you're here?"
Valid question, in my
Yeah, oh
opinion.
yeah.
I love it because he's out there with Rick and the other soldiers, and they're all asking him like a bunch of questions. So I wrote them down because it's is Vince Lombardi really going to retire from coaching football? How short are the girls' skirts now? Do you think they'll have another summer of love this year? Are people still rioting? Are they still protesting? Does everybody have a color TV now? Have you gotten to drive a Mustang? Like it's just such like everywhere.
Those questions matter. What's funny is because when you're with a group of people for so long, you hear everyone's stories.
Hmm.
And so what's interesting is like when I came into the first to both my shops, when I came in, it was like the new guy, what, and it's
Yep.
all about you. It's weird. It's weird because everyone knows
Yeah.
everybody else's story. Like the new guy, where did you come from? What did you do before here? Do you have what's your family like? But and they'll just kick questions all the time. What cars do you drive? What sports do you like? What they try to fit you into their social categories of conversations. And so
Yeah.
it is just so strange. So you kind of get used to the conversation or the questions. And I'm
Barrage
sure
of
they're just
questions.
looking for something to do and talk about, you know?
Yeah, it helps it. I mean, they don't have as much communication with the outside world as
Oh,
obviously he did.
100%.
So they're like,
They're
"What's
also
society like?" Yeah.
Yeah, they're also,
How
owned by the military at this point.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But I just remember kind of feeling bombarded with questions when I was coming just into the shops.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
it was just funny. But yeah, they just check and they talk about the crazy stories. They're confirming Rick Dugan's crazy stories.
Yep.
And they drink some beer, or they don't drink the beer yet. They pass it out, and Rick, who's actually kind of in charge of this group,
Yeah.
he's like, after, not right now, after, not on the
Yeah.
line, later.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
yeah, I think they appreciate. At least his leadership would appreciate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's time for bed, and Rick hands Chicky a gun for protection, and he's like, "Nope, I don't wanna shoot a soldier." Like,
Yeah.
it's like, "You can take that right on back."
I don't want this
And
right
then,
now.
he asks Rick how he plans on sleeping while using a helmet for a pillow, and Rick just says, "When you have to sleep, you sleep."
Mhm.
And he passes out with a helmet for a pillow. And Chick's
Yeah.
like, "Huh, all right."
Yeah, he doesn't sleep very well, but
No, he
in the
does not.
middle, no, in the middle of the night, so this is next chapter, a firefight ensues.
Yep.
Yeah, which is one guy comes over to Rick who's passed out,
Yeah.
and like, I need the starlight scope. Apparently, it takes all the light from the moon and the stars and any ambient light it can, and it's basically night vision goggles. But it's like a $2,000 scope, and
And
only one
heavy.
guy in the unit has it. So it's
Yeah.
like that seems inefficient, but
It's a
whatever.
touch.
Put the guy on watch with it. That would make sense. And
Yeah.
so yeah, they end up having to go in a firefight, and Chick just takes cover because
Yep.
he's not supposed to be there.
Nope.
And after the firefight's over, I think it took a few hours, took an hour.
I don't know if I have it written, but I know they set like a mortar up to like light up the soldiers that were at the edge of the
Oh,
jungle.
flare.
The NVA started firing, then the soldiers returned fire and stuff. And then it doesn't seem like it was super long because it just says after a while things were silent and there was no movement seen.
Yeah, but no one slept after that.
No, they were like, "What's for breakfast?"
Yeah, no, we're not gonna sleep anymore. I think it was like 3 in the morning. That popped up, and you're
Yeah.
when you're waking up there and you're shooting things, yeah, and you're not going back to sleep. So yeah,
No.
they finally get off of the line, I guess, and now it's breakfast Vietnam style. So rations
Sea
and
rations, yep.
nothing crazy. And then he finally is able to give the beers with the guys and actually drink a little bit, and they tell some more stories. And oh, actually, before they do the beers, they actually take him on patrol,
Oh yeah, they do.
which he was deathly afraid of.
He was not thrilled.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think they even gave him a gun, didn't they?
Um, I don't have it written. I think they did.
Yeah, I think you need to have one.
I would think so. They did. Chick points out too that Rick carries around every single letter he's ever gotten from home
I would tell you.
in his backpack. Oh yeah, same.
Hmm? That's you got a
Yeah,
moment of reflection. You want to taste a home, pull that out and read it. Absolutely.
absolutely.
They thankfully on the patrol they didn't have any conflicts, no bad company as I put. But yeah, they were very appreciative. Rick was very appreciative of his showing up, boosting
Yep.
some morale with him and the men, and
Yep.
just really happy that everyone was supporting him and supporting him from the neighborhood, and was really looking forward to getting home. Just
Yes.
yeah. So, but then Rick gets him on a chopper heading east to his next destination.
Yeah. I don't remember where Chick wasn't supposed to be going east, but I don't remember what direction he was wanting to go. But Rick was like, beggars can't be choosy, so here's your chopper.
Yeah, yeah. He was trying to get to, I can't remember where he was trying to go to next.
I'm looking right now. Oh, he was trying to go south.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the further north you go in Vietnam at this point in time, the more well, he was already in the demilitarized zone, wasn't he? He was already in the DMZ at this point, wasn't he?
Maybe. I
I
do not
think he
know.
was. I think he was.
Do
Anyway,
not have that written down.
okay. Yeah, I think he was in the demilitarized zone clearly because he saw he saw some combat. Chapter 13 Screams on the Night Road, which that's frightening.
I don't love that.
Yep. So the helicopter he got in was a Chinook, which apparently are just crazy powerful. They're crazy powerful. They like can lift all sorts of crazy stuff and do some drops.
Boeing built workhorse.
It landed in a remote field and he had to walk down another airstrip
Yep.
um, guarded by Marines. So the Marine was giving him kind of a hard time at this point. So Chick's like, "Hey, I just need to get by. I need to go talk." And the Marine's like, "No, I'm not allowed to have any civilians pass by here." And
Yep.
where he's getting, you can rag on the Marine for giving him a hard time, where everyone else kind of let him slide. If
Yeah.
he's not letting his orders, he's following his orders, which at this point in
Yep.
time, you're in a war zone. You probably should be following orders. At least something
Yeah.
like that. At least
Yeah.
something to that effect. After fighting with him for about 15 minutes, arguing with him, they didn't fight, but arguing, he
Yeah.
asked for the OD, which is the officer of the day, and eventually got a ride to Phuket. I wanted to say fuck it, but Phuket.
I didn't even think that, but that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I thought so. I'm like, that says fuck it.
It does. It does say
PHU
fuck it.
space KAT. I think it's Phuket,
I
but
had KAT. Did mine autocorrect? I don't know.
PHUKAT.
I trust you. I don't trust my where the fuck is it in here? I'm on that chapter, right?
Chapter 13.
Yep. Okay, I'm like, did I go too far? I did not. No, it's Phucat.
Did I C-A-T?
Mm-hmm. I'm on page 76, a little over halfway down the page.
I suck then.
So I was
See,
like, oh my,
only 80/20. See, you're right.
I was like, oh, my iPad must have like auto corrected. That makes sense. But mine says CAT.
Where down the page? Oh,
Uh,
Phuket.
like, yeah.
I could have sworn it was Phuket with a K. Well, I don't
So I was like, I
know.
have it in my notes multiple times. CAT.
Yeah, okay. I suck. Weird. My
It's okay.
brain saw K. Anyway, okay.
It may have.
No, I'm just dumb. It's okay. Anyway, Phuket. Wrong spelling aside, my
Yeah.
bad. He gets a ride to Phuket. And when he arrived, he wanted to head right to Quy Nhon, which is back to his boat. So, because at this
Yeah.
point in time, he told his captain 3 days, and it had been four,
Yeah.
going
Which
on
for those
5 days.
counting is longer than he said.
Yeah, yeah. He began to travel. So he got into the place pretty late, and he wanted to go back down to Quy Nhon. So he began to travel down the dark path to Quy Nhon, the harbor that he
Yeah.
had come into, and he encountered a young boy. I think he was chasing a ball or something.
Yeah, this made me sad.
Oh yeah, this is well, and mom saw a guy walking down. Her son's walking, and then she screams bloody murder to go after and pick her kid up.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, I did that. Cool.
Well, I don't know about Vietnam, but I know in Japan during World War II, terrible. There's a lot of propaganda that goes out at this point in time that American GIs will eat Japanese children. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Propaganda was wild.
Because we're
Absolutely.
cannibals. Like,
Yeah, they made them afraid because they didn't want them to give up. They want them to kill the GIs or avoid them at all costs. And so they're scaring the people of they're trying to dehumanize them. Okay, I mean
clearly, I'm like,
that's what the
just say we're
Nazis did.
assholes. Don't think we're gonna eat children. God.
That's what the Nazis did to for the Jews. They try to dehumanize them, make them turn people think they're rats, less than human.
Yeah, I remember that.
The Japanese are trying to make them into creatures to fear and to try to eliminate, right? Because it's starting from a young age. You start the fear mongering at a young age. They grow up thinking these people are terrible. They have no problem
True.
going to kill these people, to save Japan. So what
Yeah.
would happen apparently was GIs are returning from this fight and they just been through hell and like crazy, and they see this mother with their child. They're like, hey, you look hungry, we have food for you, like
Yeah.
come here, there's a camp, you can sleep and eat and keep your kid warm. She would take these ladies would take their kid and jump off of cliffs with the kid, yeah, to avoid the GIs.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's what that reminded me of.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the kind of stuff that I hate to see, but it's like if you don't read the bad stuff, it's like then history doesn't impact you. Whether it offends you or makes you sad or not, you need to read all of it. That's my thought. Well
I
rounded. But
agree.
anyway,
Anyway,
after a hot minute, he's like, I better go back.
yeah. He's like, this was not a great choice.
He goes
PC
to
drives up, doesn't speak English, and takes him back to Phuket.
Yeah, so he catches the ride, but what I note was on the way back, he's really glad he went back because
Yeah.
VC owned that road. He goes, I could have been captured, killed,
Yep.
who knows? But yeah, he gets
Yeah.
back and jokes on him.
Ship has left.
Ship is
Ship has
gone.
left the building.
So chapter 14, moving on to an Air Force pilot does me a favor is the
Yes.
literal chapter name, which I
Yep.
mean, who doesn't want an Air Force pilot to do you a favor? I mean, that sounds really great.
I mean, I like favors in general, but I feel like one from an Air Force pilot would be pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So after he discovers his boat's missing, he's got to figure out a way to get to his boat.
Yeah.
Figure out what the hell's going on. But
Kind of
he learns
important.
from talking to like the dock master or
Harbor
marina
master.
harbor master, right? That
Mhm.
guy person, that his boat is heading to, is it Manila?
Yeah, off to the Philippines because the captain heard of a potential attack and then expedited the unloading and shipped off. And then the
That's right.
next stop was the Philippines. Chick
Ship
had
is,
been reported missing by the captain.
yep, yes, he was. And it's like, hey, you can catch up though. Come on and catch up. You can do
Yeah.
that. We'll take him
Yeah.
back if you can. And after that, it was going to go back to the States. So he was looking forward to just ending that. And cool, I got to who I could get to. Sweet deal, nice. But now he's given the runaround as to what he needs to go to get to Manila. And as calls, he's back into bureaucracy land, which is
Heavy.
terrible.
Yeah.
So he in the fact that he's back at is it
You know.
Queenon Harbor there. He heads to go see his buddy Tommy Collins again, just to say hey one more time, and then he heads over to an airfield, and thankfully finds a World War II vet who pitied him. By pitied him, and he's looking kind of rough, and he stinks.
Yeah.
Something fierce, and was a
Yeah.
merchant, also apparently was a merchant marine after World War II, and is able to fly him basically to the American embassy. I think it's to
Yeah.
Saigon, right? He flies him to Saigon. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, so he's able to get his butt onto the plane. It's like an hour flight to Saigon, and he finally lands in Saigon. At this point in time, his luck is kind of running out. He went from
Yeah.
finding, his buddies and landing all that cool stuff to coming back, boat's missing, and now he's kind of in trouble because the reason why I say that is remember we talked about earlier where his merchant marine card is the Z card is kind of like
Yeah.
a passport. It's also kind of not a passport.
It's because it's not a passport.
Right. It's not seen the same way in every country.
Yeah. So we get as he gets off of the plane in Saigon. I wrote down that the guy said if he hadn't been a merchant seaman in War II, he would have left your rotten ass back at the airfield and then asked him to take a bath when he gets back. And then Chick went to the American consulate when he landed, and basically he needs a Vietnamese passport to leave Vietnam, and he needs a US passport to get a Vietnamese passport. And
Well,
Chick
he
was
needs
like,
he
"Why do I
needs
need?"
he needs not a passport. He needs a passport and a oh Christ, what is it?
Mine says passport.
You need a
My might have even.
passport and you need a visa.
Did it say visa? I wouldn't doubt it.
Yes. You need an American passport to enter, and you need a Vietnam
You're right.
visa to exit, which is like they're like he's like, why the hell does it matter? But
Yeah,
they're trying to prevent their people from leaving.
yeah. Why do I need a visa to leave? Don't most countries require a visa to enter?
Yes, but they're trying to recruit because they're fighting a war.
Yeah,
Yeah. So problem. So
he's a bit out of line.
yeah, so after that, the good thing is so now he's stuck. He can't go anywhere. He's
Yeah,
absolutely stuck. He's screwed. He now is cannot go anywhere. He's not that short-ish journey is now becoming a much longer journey.
yeah,
The process will take a long time. And so now he's stuck in Saigon with nowhere to go. No one,
yeah,
he doesn't know anybody, no place to stay. Thankfully, there is apparently this French guy, or I don't know. I can't remember this part. Something about being in the union. He's able to go collect like his money, his daily wages from this French guy who
yeah.
runs
He just
something.
says it's a French agent
Yeah, French guy. Right.
to go, and he brings out about $40. French agent, yeah. And I looked it up. Apparently, $400. Oh God, $40 in 1967 is $369 today.
That's pretty decent. I
And
mean,
he's like, "Oh, I can do 3 hots a day in a cot if I'm careful." And I'm like, for over $300, that's like if you're careful, you could is that like a day? Like I was like, because that's a lot of
yeah.
money.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, also money goes farther. The dollar would go farther over in different countries. In
True.
Saigon, in Vietnam, your money goes pretty far,
True.
especially nowadays too. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that's that go. So he's stuck, but he's got some income. It's not a lot to live on,
No,
and he has no real clue. I mean, they said they could drag out forever, basically.
I
It would
don't
take
care.
a long time before he gets a passport.
Yep.
So he's kind of screwed there. As for chapter 16, it goes, American money is good for business. And this one kind of blew me away a little bit. He had to wait 4 days waiting on
Yeah.
his passport to get done. So of course he's going every day to the French agent, getting his $40 to go and spend on a hotel and food and or a cot and food. Nothing crazy. And what happens is after that, he's like, okay, well now I need he, the guy at the American consulate's like, good news, we have your passport. Bad news is you need a visa, and it's going to take some time to get, and your boat's basically gone. He's like, no shit. Wow, I'm shocked.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the good fucking news. But so we got to get you a passport, and it's going to cost about 900, or not a passport, a visa. It's going to cost about $900 American.
Which is a bribe,
Yeah,
basically.
it's going to have
Yeah.
to be a bribe. And he's like,
Mhm.
I'm making $40 a day. Or am I going to get 900?
Yeah. You want me to save up for that?
He's like, oh, don't worry, we'll loan you the money. Loan in quotations.
Yeah.
He's like, what? And basically he walks over with the consulate official
Yep.
to the State Department of South Vietnam, walks in, escorted with the money. He's escorted with the money. He doesn't have the money, the consulate agent does.
Yes.
They sit down and have I'm going to go with official meeting
Yeah.
where he hands this guy the money, and this guy has the audacity to pull the money out and count it in front of the state official or the consulate official. And I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
what the hell?
All of this guy.
So, and apparently the visa will be available soon-ish.
Yeah.
We're not sure
Hurry
when.
up and wait.
Yeah. So,
Oh God.
yeah, it's delightful. In the meantime, he's got to find something to do.
He tries to look for a job. The American consulate doesn't have any jobs, and he's laughed at by many bars for asking if he can have a job. And so then
Most
he goes to
Vietnam
the
people.
Caravel. Yeah.
That's what I said, Caravel.
Oh, yeah, the hotel, and I couldn't really tell if he ends up working there or if he's just, like, hanging out there.
I think he just hangs out there. I don't know if he actually works there.
That's like, I couldn't really tell. I didn't say, like, "Oh, I got a job there,"
No.
but
But
he then finds out later his visa was approved, but his ship did leave Manila, and
Hmm.
so he's told there's another ship leaving that port in 3 days that has agreed to take him on, but the Vietnamese New Year's is happening the next day, and then a whole host of stuff happens then.
Yeah.
But that's
So
in
now,
2 chapters from now.
yeah. So he gets all this news and he's trying to figure out his next plan of action. And so in trying to find his plan of action, he runs into a buddy.
Yeah, his buddy Johnny.
Yeah. A seafaring friend, an old merchant marine buddy,
Yep.
and they reunite. And Johnny's like, "Hey, man, I know you got to catch a flight in the morning, but want to come hang out with me and my girlfriend
Yeah,
all out during New Year's?" And he's like, "Sure, what the hell? Why not?
why not?
What do I got to
Let's
do?"
go hang out. Well, that's after they eat at the boat because he's on the Limon or
Lemon,
something, the
Lehman,
SS
Lehman.
Limon something, and they're like stocked with frozen food and like delicacies. And so they have this amazing feast. They had lobster and they have hamburger and ice cream, any food that could be frozen, the boat has. And so then Johnny's like, "Hey, I'm going to a dance hall to see this girl that I see whenever I'm in port." And Chick is like, "All right,
Yeah,
let's go."
yeah. So he ends up celebrating the New Year, with his buddy, and then he meets a gal over there, and they listen to good music, and they dance, and they talk. They have a little bit of a political conversation.
Mhm.
I did think it was interesting how she's a Vietnamese girl, and
Yep.
she's saying that you Americans and you who else is it? Americans and somebody else
Was it
are
the I think it
so
was
and
French, right?
French. You
Okay.
Americans and French are so proud of your revolutions and your independence,
That's what it was, yeah.
but you're not letting other people earn their own or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah, I was like, "Dang,
damn,
girl."
damn. I mean, America's a world power, and
Yeah,
they kind of they're putting their finger in a lot of places.
yeah,
So she has a point.
she does. He's
Yeah,
like,
I
Let's
stay out
not
of
get into a
I
fight now."
yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Keep our like keep keep ourselves out of the conflicts. Like we're spending so much money on other
Yeah,
people's wars. I just don't understand. We have a lot of things going on here we need to
I
fix, but
know.
I'm not going to get into that. That's just
That's one
basic
thing.
house
Yeah, that's one thing my friends talk about a lot is that.
just basic house knowledge, like in budget. If it's one thing if you're
Yeah,
if we're in a neighborhood and your house is falling apart, it's your responsibility to take care of it, not my responsibility to take care of it. Now, if I, in the willingness and goodness of my heart, I want to help you a little bit, I can charitably give you money,
yeah,
but I'm not going to just cut out 50% of my budget to give you. I have things I
yeah,
have to pay for too. So
yeah.
anyway, enough about that.
All of that.
Yeah, all that stuff. Anyway, um, yeah, they have a good time.
Yeah,
And they're up to like 2, 3 in the morning.
yeah. And then Johnny comes out of the room he was in with his lady. And then him and Chick are leave in the wee hours. Chick says bye to the girl that he met, and they get rides from the bartenders. They're like more than happy to give them rides.
Yeah.
And then they stop at like a fork in the road. Chick's going one way, Johnny's going another. They say their goodbyes and peace out.
Peace. Yeah. And then we move on to already chapter 20 because a lot of this kind of happened pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's like one
Yeah.
after another.
Yeah. So Chick arrives at the hotel he's staying at about 3 in the morning. He's
Yeah,
like, hey man, can you wake me up at 5? So 2 hours
yeah.
later. And apparently something about so beaucoup. Beaucoup is French for a lot. And he's talking to the guy at
I
the is it
yes.
yeah. He's talking to the guy at the front desk there. And he's like, Beaucoup VC, Beaucoup VC, which means a lot of Viet Cong.
Well, that's after Chick goes up to his room and tries to sleep for a couple hours and he can't. So he packs like what little he has in his bag. And then he keeps hearing all this noise and he's like, God, they are celebrating hard out there. Like, this is wild. And then this something busted through his window and glass shatters
That's
everywhere.
right.
And he's like, what in the hell is going on? And he's like, okay, with all this like celebrating, there's going to be so much traffic. This guy's got to take me to the airfield now.
Yeah.
And so then he goes downstairs and the guy's like, no. That's when he starts saying Boku VC, Boku VC. And Chick's like, what? What are you talking about?
And
Because there's oh God, what's it called? Like a peace treaty basically right now. There's like a
yeah,
pause.
there's a truce.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Truce. That's the word.
It's a truce for the new year because it's the Vietnamese New Year.
Yeah.
There's a truce going on.
Yeah.
So no one can fight, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden it's like Buku VC, a lot of VC. And
Yes.
also I thought it was funny, Boku, like merci beaucoup, thank you a lot. And this
Yeah.
case, Buku, Boocoo, Buku bucks. I thought that was a cool. I'm like, oh my
Yeah, that was funny.
God. It's kind of a bastardized version of like Boku. Yeah, that was kind of cool. All that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Big Boom
Oh, that
runs
was
down,
funny.
and then this guy is panicking because of all the crap going down. He's like, "What the hell
Fair.
is going on?" And finds out the VC have invaded Saigon.
Yes.
What a great time to be in Vietnam.
The
Yeah,
chick's really happy about his decision
yeah.
at this moment.
He finds that the embassy has been invaded, and the airfield he needs to climb on to a plane there has also been invaded by VC.
Yep, they are currently under attack.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, there's no way that's real. Like he's just in denial about it. Basically, the whole chapter. Like he's seeing this firefighting in front of him, and he's like,
Yeah.
no,
Didn't
no.
didn't
Like
they he ended up convincing the guy to get him a ride and he's driving him and they they crash or something?
there's like a something blocking, I think, an intersection. And so
Okay.
he drives up on the sidewalk, and then there's just like a bunch of guys with guns surrounding the car, and he's trying to tell them, like, no, it's fine,
Oh
everything's
yeah.
fine. And the guy's like, get the fuck out of the car, I want to go home. And he's like, let me leave.
That's
And
right.
so
And so
finally
he
they let him. Yeah, he keeps
yeah,
repeating American Embassy, and he's
that's
like,
right.
I don't know if they understood me, but they let me go. So he was like,
Yeah, he's like, I'm not sure if they thought I worked there or what, but
Wild.
I was going to go fight there, but they let him go. Yeah, which is nuts. And so
Yeah.
21 goes into the why the truce was broken. It kind of goes into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Apparently,
And a
it's
casualty.
interesting. It was interesting. The Tet Offensive was because Tet
Yep.
is their new year. So
Yes.
during that truce, the North Vietnamese, sorry, North Vietnamese took this as a means of siphoning the North Vietnamese, the communists, into South Vietnam, where all the military presence is
Yep.
quite heavily, and placed them a lot of people in those locations, very, very important locations, airfield,
Yep.
military bases, close to cities, little towns, hamlets, whatever the case may be. And
Yep.
then on after Tet, screw the truce, invade. And so while everyone's kind of reminds me of Troy after everyone's celebrating the
Yeah.
Greeks have left, horse rolls in and roll the horse in and open the gates. Oh, screwed up. You screwed up. And now everyone's getting attacked. And it became in that chapter, I think in that chapter they said after the Tet Offensive, the war was not the same because they could not, there was no hard line in the sand anymore.
Yeah.
It was hard to tell who was what or where the fighting was became too chaotic.
Yeah, well, they said because he brings up the death toll in that 2-month period from it's January 29th through March 31st of 1968, and it was 3,895 American servicemen, 14,300 civilians, um, 4,954 South Vietnamese soldiers, 214 allies, and 58,343 North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces.
That's insane.
Absolutely wild. And
Insane.
in the next chapter, they're talking about how, like, they had kind of known about it, but didn't think it was going to be this big of a deal. But 13 cities were invaded prematurely because they used the wrong calendar or the wrong year to determine New Year. And I'm like, if 13 cities got invaded prematurely, there should be an alarm going off that maybe
Maybe we'd be
some
alerted
shit's
to things.
going down. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
yeah.
Yeah. So the I thought that was really cool. I had heard
I
about the
was like,
Tet
oh
Offensive
my
before.
God, absolutely wild.
I had heard about the Tet Offensive before, but I had never it never been explained
Yeah,
to me in this way. So I was actually really glad that I got to learn that while reading this. I'm like, oh, that makes sense now. So
yeah,
it's funny what you learn in high school and college, and then as you grow older and read more and explore, you just connect the dots.
yeah. I
Yep.
mean, I hadn't heard basically anything about this because I wasn't ever super in. I was a math person. I wasn't really a history person.
Right.
But I was like, this is. I mean, it's shitty because you had a truce. That's messed up. But it's like kind of genius at the same time. They weren't necessarily with taking over the embassy. They eventually were not successful. They had it for I think what 6 hours or something.
Yeah.
But like the strategy is not bad.
Oh,
Like,
well, Hitler did it to they did it too because we all right, no more because Hitler had invaded, took the Rhineland back, in Germany, and I think they were taking other small areas that Germany had lost after World War One. They were taking things because of reparations, or I can't remember all the details of. Well, they lost land, right?
yeah,
They're Hitler was taking it back because it was originally
yeah,
Germany's, and then all of a sudden Germany's taking more things. Like, okay, no, 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 we're done now. You know more take things. Okay. He's like, okay,
yeah,
except Poland. I really want Poland. And so he invades Poland.
yeah, yeah.
And then after that, World War II started. But anyway, um,
Kind of,
yeah, oh
yeah,
God. Yeah, that's genius. Yeah. Everyone's supposed to stand down. All right, stand down. Why are you not standing down? Crap, our weapons on the ground. We're in
exactly.
trouble. We're in trouble. Yeah, so brilliant. But yeah, the next several chapters, unfortunately, are
Yeah,
him seeing and enduring battles at the embassy,
yeah,
seeing a couple guys get killed, a couple MPs getting killed.
quite a few.
Um,
Yeah,
Yeah, 19 Viet Cong stormed the embassy and all died
Yep.
in that little time he was there. And he was actually outside of the presidential palace.
Yep.
Accidentally, he was trying to get the presidential hotel,
He
the
was trying to
palace
get to
hotel.
Continental Palace Hotel,
Right,
but he just asked, "Are you going to the palace?" And the
right.
guys were like, "I'm heading there right now." And he's like, "Oh, great. This is not the right palace."
And now he's in the middle of a firefight and he's
Yeah.
watching people get shot and watching people die. He watched a young guy dead on the ground. It looked like as he put it, the guy still had his baby fat on him. And he was,
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my god." And
yeah.
that's I think when he's like hiding in a wall and he sees this kid, he's like, "I gotta check." Like he might not. I gotta check him, see if I can maybe pull him back. And so he starts to go towards this guy, and there's another guy laying in the street, injured but not dead. And he's like, "He's dead. I checked him back. Like get back in the wall. Like do
Yeah,
not come out."
it's terrifying. Terrifying. And they're using
And I'm
the
like, "Oh my
Viet
god,
Cong
it's
are using a
insane."
5-story building that's like under construction as a place to shoot bazookas and rifles. Like, holy crap. It's all out anarchy. It's all out war at this point.
Yeah,
Everyone's shooting everybody. They're trying to take over all of Saigon. And I mean, they're not succeeding, but they're making a dent.
they're trying. Yeah, they're
They're,
trying real hard.
yeah, they're trying really, really hard. And he sees an American yelling at, I think about a bunch of South Vietnam
Oh
folks. And he's like, "Come on, let's
yeah,
go get him. I'm gonna get him myself." And he goes inside, and then he gets blown back outside, and they pick him up and take him away. Like that
yeah,
worked. Ouch.
yeah.
That's
Well,
terrifying.
yeah, he was trying to get them to go in with him, and the guys were like, "No, we're not doing that." And he
Yeah,
was like, "Okay, great. I guess I'm gonna go try." And then
he gets blown backwards.
he sure
Um,
did.
and in all of this, the president is not even at the presidential palace.
Nope.
He's at like his mother-in-law's or something.
Yeah, he's out of town chilling, celebrating the new year,
Yeah, yeah. I
having
mean,
a
it's a
great old time.
truce. It's a truce. It's okay.
I'm like,
Whatever.
unfortunately, you can't really blame him. He thought everything was gonna be chill. It was
Right.
not chill.
It's not chill. Not
No,
chill in the slightest.
no chill.
So this is where you had mentioned the dead, am I dead thing.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's
this
the
next
title
chapter.
of chapter 24 is "Am I Dead and in Purgatory?" Which we kind of grew up Catholic,
Yeah.
and so there's a yeah, I'm like me. There's a thing in Catholicism called purgatory, which is basically where your soul is trapped between the living world and heaven.
That's
And
what I call
so
work.
true. And so basically, from my knowledge, is that people, if you're trapped in purgatory, you're like pay to get you to heaven, I guess, which is a little meh. But from what he grew up, he was like, okay, there's nobody here. He basically was in this wall with, I think, did he say he was in the wall for 15 hours or the fire? Okay, I couldn't really tell how long he was in the wall for. And it was
Uh,
in there for a long time.
in the wall, in the crack of the wall there.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know how long he was in there for, but I know that it became started getting darker and he ran into a empty apartment complex,
Yeah.
hid underneath a set of stairs, and it was
Yeah.
pitch black.
Yeah. He was
Pitch
like, I couldn't
black.
see anything. Nobody came in or out. I heard nobody on the street. Like, and so he
Yeah.
was like, I must have died in front of the embassy. Like,
Yeah,
he's like, I'm
he's dealing with trauma from seeing all this craziness. He's probably, I mean, under a lot of stress. You know,
yeah.
bombs going off, people dying in front of him. He's seen in firefights. It's insane. And then
Yeah.
he's going there. He finds this place of respite for refuge for a little bit of time. And what he starts to do is we think he's dreaming or slash hallucinating about the neighborhood.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know if I'm going crazy, if I'm like hallucinating from lack of food or lack of sleep, or if I'm just drifting in and out of consciousness, like what? And so he has one memory of him and his friends like cliff jumping basically back home. And then when he jumps off the cliff, he hits the water and wakes up. And then he has another one of working basically in his aunt's club and like running errands for a judge and like different political leaders and stuff. And
Oh yeah.
he snaps out of that, and then he's like, I'm dead. Like I must have died like immediately upon impact. I'm not injured. I must have just gotten shot and was killed.
Yeah. After this very strange I would call encounter, just experience after
Experience.
enduring this and thinking he's in purgatory or dead, he he opens up he comes outside and he sees a bunch of South Korean cops everywhere. He said South Korean, South Vietnamese cops,
Korean flow
Vietnamese.
is a little bit easier than Vietnamese.
I think that's what it is. It's just easier to say. Um, and I was thinking the other day, I'm like, isn't North Korea and North Vietnam? I'm like, really? It's interesting. They're both communist countries. They're fine. Anyway,
Oh,
fine.
nice.
What's up with the North?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, nice.
why is that communist? Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Uh, the
Do
cardinal,
some
the
digging there.
cardinal, the cardinal direction of north is apparently communist. I don't know.
Something.
So yeah, the North. So he befriends a South Vietnamese cop. But first he runs into a friend from the Limon.
Yeah.
It's not actually Johnny. It's
Martin.
oh yeah, a different guy he
Yeah.
met on the Lehman.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Chick is like, we're alive. And Martin's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, buddy. Yeah, we're alive. And he's like, are you sure? And Martin's like, hey, bud, why don't you come back to the ship with me? Let's let's go. You need a nap or something. Like we should go. And Chick's like, no, I'm fine. And he's like, I don't think you're fine. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I don't know about that. But and so Chick's like, no, I gotta leave. I gotta find a way home. Like I can't do anything. And that's when he runs into the cop and he asks what the state of Cholon, I don't know,
Cologne.
where his hotel, yeah,
Cologne.
where his last hotel was.
I don't know.
Asks what the state of it is, and he's told it's house to house fighting. Houses were bombed out. Blocks were just ended up bombed.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, so I'm not going back there. And so then the cop, he's like, I need a hotel. And the cop tells him that his dad owns a hotel and kind of points to it. And Chick goes, are there any vacancies? They just both start busting up laughing.
Yeah, and this guy becomes a friend. His name is Nuong.
Yes.
Nuong. Yeah, I
Yep.
like that. I like that.
Yep.
And also, I forgot to say that from the embassy, he got before it went got attacked, he got a
Yep.
hotel voucher. So every day
Yep.
the embassy will pay the hotel for his stay, which is kind of cool. So,
Yeah. And they
uh,
had a start date, but no end date. So,
yeah. Okay, so moving on, after he gets settled in the hotel,
yep.
all of a sudden, through the Tet Offensive, a lot of pathways for food are blocked, and people are running out of food now in Saigon. So, Chick, knowing there is a giant floating fortress of
Of food.
frozen foods, say that 5 times fast.
Oh, goodness.
He
I'll be
he makes his
alliteration.
way to yeah, he makes his way to the Limon, talks to Johnny and tells him what's going on. He's like, "Hey guys, people are hungry. They're starving." And he's
Yeah,
like,
no one's got food.
"We have food. Let's
He's
feed
like,
you
can I take
first."
some? Yeah.
Yeah, let's feed you first.
Yeah.
And he just starts taking duffel bags. I love this. I call it playing Robin Hood with food.
1000%. That's exactly. They're like sneaking him off the boat, like trying to find ways to get him off.
They're distracting all the officers. Oh, what's over there? And he's like, walks through. That's what I see.
Exactly. Like, doo doo.
And through he does this every day. He'll go back and forth and grab a duffel bag
Yeah.
and bring it back to the Cavell
Yeah.
rooftop bar and
Sure.
bring it bring
Yeah.
it back to the hotel and share the food there and over time more and more people found out that this merchant marine's bringing food and so they're giving
Yeah.
food to people and in the evenings he would drink for free
Yep.
and his buddy Nuong and him would hang out on the rooftop of the hotel, I think, hotel or the bar.
I think it's a hotel, and on the rooftop there's the bar,
Okay, okay, and
from what I could tell.
yeah, and he says this is a beautiful place to watch a war.
Yes.
Yeah, thought that
Which
was
is
interesting
very, very true.
and a
Um,
little sad at the
it
same time.
Yeah, and once he was giving food to obviously the owner of the hotel, where he was living at and his son and everything, and they were divvying it up between their relatives and their relatives' children and then their neighbors and their neighbors' children. And so he goes back to the limon and he's like, yeah, there's everybody's starving. So then he was carrying back two duffel bags
Yeah,
full of food.
he was trying.
he was putting the work in, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
he was. He was doing some good work there.
Doing
I
the
actually that
most.
was I put down that was probably one of my favorite chapters was him just, he's feeding
Yeah.
he's feeding his friends, he's feeding these people who are in a war-torn nation just trying to live, and there's just he's making friends wherever he goes.
I mean, that's the only way you're gonna get through that if you're just going solo the whole time, especially in a war-torn country that's actively being,
Destroyed.
bombed, basically.
I've
Yeah, you need the
heard
camaraderie.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I've heard Vietnam was absolutely a beautiful place until the napalm and the
I have to.
bombing went on. So I can only imagine. Um,
Yeah.
so through this craziness, continued on again, kind of weird, dumb luck. This guy, he's sitting in the bar.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this bigwig Coast Guard brass walks in,
Lieutenant
and
Commander.
what's Lieutenant Commander? Yeah, kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
They get to bullshitting and talking, and Chick tells him the story, and he's listening. He's like, "Hey, man, if you need work, I got a job for you, and it
And it
pays
is.
buku bucks."
Ooh, yeah,
It is
2,500 a month when he had previously been earning 300. So I did the conversions, right? So 2,500 a month back then would be equivalent to $22,621. That is half of my annual salary. Like,
I mean, I do okay as an instructor, but do good doing them.
I know. And
That
I mean,
that blows mine out of the water too. That's insane.
I was like, "Holy crap." And then I did 300 a month just to see, and that was $2,700, which is still not bad.
Still pretty good. I've lived on less.
That's not bad, but I mean, I would prefer the 22,000, but that's just me.
That is in the
Yeah,
book. It says that's life-changing money right there.
absolutely. He's like, and the only kind of downside is you have to sign on for 18 months, and it's an oil tanker in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of a war. Like it's risky, which is why the money's so good. But like, chick's like, nah, I'd do it. Like,
He's an oiler. They're looking for an oiler. Money.
yeah,
You know what? Why not? So yeah, he happily accepts.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, he happily accepts.
yeah,
Unfortunately, the next day when he was told to meet the guy to get him out there, they were gonna literally fly his ass out there and
yeah,
just, okay, start your work now, 18 months, boom, where we'll honor
yep,
it.
yep,
The airstrip was still surrounded and it was taken over by the Viet Cong. He couldn't.
yeah,
So he would give him a second chance, I think, if the opportunity came back. But
yeah.
if he had gone on his own accord, he probably would have become a POW or been
Yeah,
killed.
because he says, like, in hindsight, I think it was a blessing I wasn't able to go.
Yes, that's a nice carrot, but
Yeah,
if you have to go possibly get, captured for however long and tortured, and
ever, potentially, yeah, not great.
not great. No, bad juju. Bad juju.
Bad juju.
Bad things. I mean, yes, he went through a hell of a story, but like so far, he has gotten damn lucky with everything that's gone on.
Abs which I think he mentions a couple of times, like, there were so many times I could have gotten captured, killed, or, any amount of things, and I miraculously was able to find my friends, deliver beer to them, and I made it home safely, which
Yeah.
is shocker. Spoiler alert, he's telling the story, but, you
Yeah.
know, it's
He's the author of the book. So,
yeah, so it's not a huge spoiler, but he does make it home safe. Like,
right. All right. So now he's still stuck in Saigon. Can't go
yep,
anywhere. He's still making his food runs every single day. He's collecting his
yep,
$40 from the French agent. He's
yep,
got a routine now. He's got a
sure
routine.
does.
He's got a place to sit. He's got some buddies he's making. So he's doing actually pretty well here,
Yeah,
considering that he's thousands of miles from home in
small details.
constantly avoiding getting shot at and blown up by people, At night at the Caraval rooftop bar, the Australian
Mhm.
Marines, they go around and they're locking up the joints to make sure everyone's safe. So Chick is able to actually escape the Caraval real fast. Hey, my place is up there. I gotta go take a walk.
Yeah.
Okay, come on out, man. And it's February now. When he left, it was pre-Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, minute.
It's been more than 3 days on the excursion, and it's been a very long time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he knew that the traveling that would take some time, but yeah, 3 days off of the off boat.
Yeah.
We're a little past that now. Yeah, so the big metal doors
Yeah.
close up. He's able to get the heck out of there.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. And apparently he hears about some like cool bar down the way and wants to go check it out because he's not ready to go to sleep yet. And
Yeah, he's like, "I wanna keep drinking." There's an alley off of Trudeau Street, and so
yeah,
he's walking down, and there's a young soldier kinda, like, hiding out with a gun, and so Chick sees him,
yeah,
but is trying to make sure that the soldier isn't afraid of him walking down because he's like, "I don't wanna get shot." So he's, like, making noise and, like, whistling and, like, "Do, do, 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 do," like, whatever, and the guy's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And he's like, "There's a bar. I wanna go drink." And he's like, "Go home." And he's like, "No, I wanna go
I want
drink."
to
And the
drink
guy's like,
though.
yeah, the guy's like, "What are you doing?" So they walk down, the soldier's like, "Alright, I guess I'll protect your ass," like, "Cool." And so they walk down, the bar's closed, and Jack is like, "Damn it." So he goes home, and then
Yeah,
he comes back to the Caravel the next day, and he's like, "Okay, we gotta stay open past midnight because I would like to keep drinking." Like, we might be in the middle of a war, but it doesn't mean I don't have to, like, I would
I
like to drink.
but if we're gonna be here, I want to be drinking, damn it.
Exactly.
I mean, what else you gonna do?
Yeah, and he said, "I didn't wanna lose my life over it," which fair.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's hilarious. So yeah, he's hanging out Carvel drinking till
Yeah,
midnight.
might as well. Safe in
Okay,
there.
so we're moving along pretty well now. We're about chapter 29.
Yeah.
And this is pretty cool. So this is Finding Bobby. Finding Bobby.
Finding Bobby.
Yeah. So I can't remember why or how he made it out to this base, but he finds his buddy Bobby. Is it? Oh, what was his last name?
Pappas.
Pappas.
Pappas
Yeah, I almost
Bobby.
said Pascal, but it's not Pascal. Pappas.
That is Pedro Pascal, who is amazing. But
Yes, he is. I
so
like him.
Chick knows that Bobby is about an hour away from him at the Long Bean army
Yeah.
base, and they were best buddies back home. He said they were partners in crime. So he's like, all right. He got a 3-day pay advance from Mr. Min, I don't know, who's
Yeah,
at
man.
the French guy's house. And so he then hitches a ride northeast to the base. He gets to the base, walks to the depot outside, and he tells the MPs that he's Bobby's stepbrother, which is his shtick at this point.
Hmm.
And he tells them a wild story to get in. And because they were like, "You're not Bobby's stepbrother, like tell us a crazy story to like confirm that you're his." And so he does. And they're like, "All right, shit, yeah, you're a stepbrother. Like,
Yeah.
let's go."
We've heard that one from him. So yeah, come on
Yes. All
down.
right, that matches.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean that's that makes sense. How
Yeah.
else are you gonna determine? You don't have, you don't have a marriage certificate in front of you. You don't have pictures. You don't have a phone. You don't have
No,
Facebook or any social media to confirm, identities.
anything.
Tell me a crazy story
Crazy
about him.
Bobby story.
Oh, I
He's
mean
like,
this?
okay,
He told us that. You must be related. Okay, go on.
obviously. You at
Oh,
least know him.
yeah.
So we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's able to make it in he finds his buddy in like kind of a controlled area, and this huge area is
Yeah.
full of munitions. Huge,
Yeah.
gigantic
Loaded.
area, loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he finds his buddy and
Loaded.
like, sweet, let's go hang out. So he ends his shift and they go
Yeah.
chill. Yeah, pretty
Well, I
crazy.
love it because Bobby's like, "I'm getting you some fatigues because you are the only civilian on the space, and I do not want to explain you to everybody that I see."
Everybody.
So
Yeah.
we're getting you some fatigues. And then they're talking about his like name patch on it. And they're like, "Okay, what do I put?" And he goes, "Donohue, civilian." And they were like, "What?"
Yeah, I mean, he's like, whatever. And you have someone who's like, what is this person doing? He's like, civilian. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, some higher ranking guy
The
than Bobby.
CO. I'm
Was it the
assuming commanding
CO?
officer. Yeah.
Yes, commanding officer CO.
He's the one. Bobby and Chick are like bullshitting and swearing and stuff. And Bobby's like, "Oh, hey, the CO doesn't like doesn't like foul language or something, and the
Yeah, he's a
CO hears
Mormon.
them and comes over, and he's like, "I think you're finally someone that's more foul mouthed than Bobby over here." And then they just start talking, and then the CO wants to hear everything that happened during the Tet Offensive,
Yep.
where obviously Chick was there. So they start talking, and he asks if the war is going to be over, and Chick tells him, "Sir, I think the war is essentially over." And this was the North Vietnamese army's last show. Like, we won. They've got to come to the peace table now. We got to start negotiating.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's all out. Yep, everything's good to go. I think we're winning this thing, and
Yeah.
and they're all good. That's great. He leaves.
Yep.
The next day he leaves, and there's a big boom.
Real big boom.
Big, big boom.
He's at the bar, and there's a bunch of like journalists and reporters and stuff that hang out at the bar and stuff. And so they're all arguing with each other about political stuff. And then there's just a giant explosion
Yeah.
he's about 20 miles away in the northeast, and he said, quote, "It shook the whole city of Bien Hoa 6 miles away. The night sky lit up orange. A huge mushroom cloud rose like an atomic bomb." And that's when he knows it was at Long Bin, and he's like, "So I got to get there." He couldn't make it there that night, but he was like trying to sleep. He's like, "I can't sleep."
No,
So then the next morning he heads out there to find out the VC had also blown up fuel tanks at the other airfield 6 miles north.
crazy. Crazy. Yeah, he
Insane.
gets out
Yeah.
there and is like looking, looking, looking. He can see there's a lot of things blowing up. Definitely
Yeah.
things have happened, and he thankfully finds his buddy Bobby in the command center. So and apparently they yell at each other, which I think was funny. He's like, "You said the war was over. You're not dead.
It
I don't care. You're
reminds me
yelling at me and you're angry. You're alive." So
exactly. You saw Maverick, right?
the yeah,
Yeah, so it's like when they both land after saving each other
yes,
and the push. Like,
yeah, yeah.
"What are
What?
you doing?"
Saving your life. I was saving your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Screw you. Don't screw you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great. Well, what's also meant to be said too is Bobby is one of the only guys who's actually got like a wife and kid of his group. Obviously, there's
Yeah.
obviously more people who do, but
Yeah.
of his neighborhood. And I guess at like one point in time for the draft, they had not drafted married fathers
Yeah.
so that they could keep families together. And they were, drafting single, unmarried, single, no kid, fatherless men to go fight. Well, I guess that had been repealed, and so his buddy Bobby got drafted back to go do some fighting. So he thought that was very unfair. So when he saw the big boom, he's like, "Crap! What do I like? How?" At first, he's like, "Oh my God, he's gonna die." It's like I can maybe get home on a plane if he's dead. But how
Yeah,
am I gonna
like,
do tell his how am I gonna tell his widow? And he's like, I can't sleep. I gotta see if he's okay. Very
which, I mean,
concerned.
I would be in the same boat,
Oh,
like,
hell yeah.
I know your wife and your kid, how am I gonna tell them that you're not coming back?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that relief and the yelling, who cares? The
It's like,
yelling,
"All
who
right,
cares?
whatever."
Yeah, relief is hallelujah.
Yep.
Yeah, I just thought that was hilarious. So he leaves after that. He's like, okay, I'm going now. Sorry, I came by to bug you, but you're alive. I'm happy now.
Yeah, we're leaving again. Like,
Yeah. And then this next chapter is kind of strange. It says helping a descendant of the Mayans.
yeah,
Uh,
this was a little, like, it was
almost,
kinda just like a cute side story. I don't think it really needed to be in there, 'cause there was basically a guy they met that was nice that got kicked off of his boat for mutiny or something, and then he
yeah,
said he really wanted to fight in the war and, like, help out,
yeah,
um, and then so Chick took him to the consulate and was like, "Bye," and then left.
yeah. What was he? A guy from was it Guatemala?
Yeah.
That was about it. I'm like, you could have probably left that whole thing out and been fine, but
Yeah.
whatever. It was fine. It was a quick little thing.
Yeah,
And
the
what
next one's
was
quick too.
yeah, what was a little annoying was you just didn't know the end of that. But
Yeah.
I mean, again, whatever. He's
Yeah.
as far as he knows, he was a successful sergeant in the South Vietnamese army. Who knows? I mean,
I
that's
like the
fair.
hopefulness.
Yeah, who
Yeah.
knows? Yeah, and then the next one, chapter 32. Finally, finally, after 4 months, he checks in with his family.
He's like, "Oh, the USO's open. I should probably try and call the folks."
Yeah.
And it's like 4 a.m. back home or something.
Yeah.
And so he calls, and his dad picks up and is like, "The hell have you been? What's going on over there?" He's like, "Your mother's word sick." And
Yeah.
then
Go
mom
for
gets
it.
on the
Go for
phone.
it.
"Hey, Chicky, how you doing? Is everything okay?"
Are you getting enough to eat? I was gonna like
Exactly.
I was sure to hear like, are you wearing clean underwear? Like that was I was
Yeah,
expecting
very
for
typical
her to ask
mother
that. When are
line.
you coming home? Soon, Ma. Soon, as soon as I can.
Yeah,
Trust me, I'm not trying to stay here any longer than
soon.
I have to.
Promise.
But yeah, he said he got a little choked up, I
I
think.
am working on it
Yeah,
actively.
yeah, I got a little choked up, I think, and then hung up and tried to go back. It was interesting though. They used the radio waves to make the phone call, go over the radio, over the CBs, and kind of interesting how they make the
Yeah.
connection and pretty cool, pretty cool.
Yeah.
They take 2 to 3
Yeah.
hours to make a phone call.
I know.
Like not anymore. Boink, I'm on the phone. Yay.
Have a second. Green button. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, even now the
Yeah.
sailors and everything can have phones and Marines
Yeah.
can have their phones, take pictures and call people. I'm like, whoa, damn. I don't know how liberal it is, but a lot more than it was. Just technology is amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. The, we're actually closing in on the end here already.
There
Wow.
are.
Look at us. We're doing it.
Feeling it.
We're
Oh
doing things.
my God.
So now he's still in Saigon.
He is.
Still in Saigon.
Yep.
And this chapter is called Please Do Feed the Animals.
Yes.
Feed the animals.
Please.
So it was it the his buddy's dad who was like worried about who was it?
Mr. Min or
Mr.
Mead.
Min. Oh, from the
Yeah.
French agents
House. He's
house.
like an
Yeah.
assistant.
Yeah. And he was very worried about these animals at the Saigon Zoo
Yes.
who apparently when the Viet Cong took over during the Tet Offensive, they went and killed the zookeepers and all the
Which is
and left
messed up.
it is and left all the animals locked up, so they're starving, and people
Yeah.
with daily rations, because at this point they are getting daily rations, not very much, you're getting some food. People are going to the zoo and feeding the animals. Like it said, like a woman was feeding a crocodile a half a loaf of bread, damn near got her hand taken.
Yeah. Which I mean, props to her. Like,
Yep,
dang. Yeah.
feeding
So Chick's like,
monkeys
he's like,
rice
all
and
right, I'm gonna go get some food from the Liman, and I'm gonna go and get some for the bar and some for the zoo. So he gets two duffel bags, and he's like, these are super heavy. I can't carry these. So then he flags down like a biker, and the guy's like, yeah, yeah, for sure, I can help you out. And so he loads up the bike, but then they get shot at, right, by a
yeah,
sniper. Yeah, and so then the guy on the motorcycle's like shot
he
and
got
like
shot,
very
not
injured.
dead but shot.
They're both okay, like, okay. Um, Chick, I don't think I couldn't tell if he got shot or if he just got like road burn. Okay.
Road burn.
Because he got like, I mean, some pretty bad wounds and stuff, but then the Swiss Red Cross volunteers come down the street and they try to help Chick, and he's like, no, 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 no. You take care of him. I am fine.
Yeah.
And then as he like gets up to go back to the bike, one of his bags is completely gone and the other one's completely ravaged. And he's like, great, so no food today.
I mean, he still fed Saigon,
he's
and
he's
then
doing the damn thing.
back to Mr. Min's, and shows him, and Mr. Min almost doesn't let him in because he's all bloodied up from falling over and scraped and everything, and Mr. Min
Yeah, he doesn't
showed
know who
him
he is.
to the bathroom, and I put in nice bathroom, Mr. Min, uh, so nice area, and Mr. Min kind of tells him that he's worried for his country because Americans are going to be leaving just like the French did,
Yep.
and Chick does his best to try to console him,
Yeah.
but I mean, you can't make predictions on the world. Very hard to make predictions on the world.
Very much so. Yeah. Mr. Min offers him soup, and Chick is like, nah, but if you got a beer, I'll take that. And so he offers him two beers. I don't remember what the other one was, but one's based on some Irish like lore or something. He's like, I'm gonna take that one. So
He drinks and enjoys himself. Now we're on the last three chapters, and this like
we
happened
are.
pretty quick. So this
Yeah.
one here is titled "We Cannot Win," and this is kind of where the world realizes America kind of comes to that that consensus that we are at a loss, that we're at a loss, and how that happens is Walter Cronkite at Cronkite, I can talk, my God, reports, basically a bleak outcome. But there's no way that we can win by being the victors. We have to
Yeah.
we have to win by coming to some kind of agreement. There's just gonna be no victor for this war, is
Yeah.
what happened is. And this is, of course, this is nearing the end of February. We're heading into March, and he is still stuck.
Yeah, and he's talking about St. Patrick's Day's approaching, and he doesn't like to miss the St. Patrick's Day parade. So he's
Gotta
trying
get
to
out
get
of there.
home.
This next chapter is kind of where it really it starts happening on the bad side,
Yes.
but it's actually to his benefit.
Yes.
The merchant ships in harbor, like the Limon and all them, are now getting attacked by Viet Cong forces because they're off
Yes.
the river. So obviously, river different than a
Yeah.
harbor where it's much, much larger, out to sea. I mean, and so the Lehman actually lost an oiler, and Johnny comes up and, hey, we got a guy. He's gone. He's gonna be back for a while. You want a job? Yes.
I sure do.
I do, I do. Oh. Yeah, and they have to go on there, and he's like, hey, talks to the captain. Can I come on, please, 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 please? And somehow convinces them to let him on, take that position.
Well, yeah, the captain originally is like, no, like I'll just have some guys pull a double duty. But there's something in like the rule book or something for I don't know if it's a union
Oh,
or
the
what.
Union Handbook.
Yep. But they were like, no, look, right here, you have to take me. And the guy was like, yeah, all right, be back at 8 tomorrow. And
You
then
can't be understaffed. That's what it
yeah.
was.
Like, or if
Yeah.
there's like if you're understaffed and there is someone that is available to fill the position, you have to give it to them.
Yes.
And so the guy's like, be back at 0800 hours. And so Chick is like about to exit the ship to go say bye to people. And then he's like, I don't have nothing to pack. Like, I'm wearing what I got. I'm not gonna risk getting stuck again. So he's like, bye everybody from the ship and like
Yeah.
goes back on.
Yeah, I said he had a hard choice of saying goodbye or not saying goodbye. It's like, but he finally left Saigon after several months of being stranded. What
God.
the hell? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so crazy. And
I loved it. The next
yeah,
chapter they land in Seattle. I was like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah. And he's like, he literally hops out and kisses the ground.
I would too.
I would too. And
Yep.
I need to finds a cab to the nearest airport. What airport? Which everyone will get me to New York.
Yes.
Everyone will
He
get me
takes
to
it
New
to
York.
American Airlines and he buys a ticket and coach. He's bumped up to first class. He ends up talking with some businessmen and they drink 4 Manhattans, which Chick thought was fitting. And then, Chick fills him in on his whole adventure in Vietnam. And then he lands and he heads straight to Doc Fiddler's. He walks in, everyone's freaking out because Chick is back. There's a map on the wall, like routing his location that like Rick was trying to fill them in on where he was from his letters and stuff. And then finally one of the guys is like, hey, you want to go home? And he goes, actually, I'd like to go to my parents.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's not early. It's not middle of the day. It's early morning. Drop me off. Just
Yeah,
drop me off. I
it's
don't
fine.
care. Mom and dad ain't gonna give a shit. Just drop me
Yeah.
off. And sure enough, ring the doorbell, knock the door, ring the doorbell, knock the door. Dad finally answered, kind of irritated. You're home. You're not dead. You're
Oh my
alive. And
God.
Bob comes in and don't
Yeah.
ever go back to Vietnam again. That was a very easy promise to
Yeah.
keep, is the final
Yeah.
word there.
I put
So
that in quotes. That was an
it's
easy
so
promise to keep.
an easy promise to keep. Yeah. So good. And then
Yes.
we were talking before. I just like literally before we started, I just finished that portion of the book. It's about 200 pages. But there's a
Yeah.
solid like 50 pages that
I think
are
it's 30,
30
maybe more.
pages.
I think it's 30 because I think 226 is the end of that. And then it goes to acknowledgments.
Yeah, 300,
I might be
236.
wrong. It might
Oh,
be more.
okay. So if we're not going to go into it because we've already done a lot, but there is an
Yes.
afterward talking about his reflections on the journey. I want to
Yeah.
read that. I'm going to read that after we're done here.
Yeah.
There's a Where Are They Now, which is pretty cool. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to learn how everyone is, how everyone fared. And then an addendum. They talk about the neighborhood that he came from in Inwood, Manhattan. And then the
Hmm.
last one's a bonus chapter, which barbecue and a beer can shoot with a powerful stranger. So I mean, I want to read that too. But for this, that's for you guys to go and enjoy and read. We don't want to. I think
Absolutely.
even if you listen to this and you haven't heard it before, go read it before. Go read it. It was wonderfully well done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Ems, let's get to rating, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, this is top shelf. I mean, it's such a good story. The way that he adds in the history but doesn't make it boring. He's just like, "Hey, here's a little tidbit condensed. Like this is what you need to kind of understand what's going on here." And then continues on. Like it's an emotional book without being emotional, which I think is nice.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't find
Yeah,
myself getting, teary-eyed or anything, but I definitely found myself feeling proud of the fact that we have guys who are doing their best
exactly.
and feeling supported. You kind of got that warm and fuzzy of this is a terrible situation, but we're really trying our best to make the best of it. It's
Yes.
just so good. I rate it a top shelf book also. This is by far one of my more favorite books that I've read in a long time. And so thank you for the suggestion.
You're welcome. I'll say this is my second time reading it, and I will probably read it again.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
It this is the kind of book, this is the kind of
super
story.
super good book.
Yeah, this is the kind of story that I love to tell, like talk about. Like when I talk about like when I wanted to be a history teacher, this is the kind of stuff I wanted to talk about. Stories of actual
Absolutely.
people doing real things. Yes, it's silly to go on. Was it dumb? Was it risky? Yeah, to go
Just
to
a bit.
Vietnam to give your buddies beer, but
Yeah.
it's just it was I don't know. It's kind of ineffable, if you will. It's hard to
Yeah.
explain, but that's the kind of thing I love about history. Is you take people and put ordinary people into extraordinary circumstances to see what happens.
Yeah.
So I definitely rate this top shelf, and hopefully you guys will go read it and enjoy it for yourself. And I want to go watch the movie now.
Absolutely. I need to I was talking to mom. I was like, maybe I can find like a free trial for Apple TV so I can just like
No, I
test it out, watch that movie, and then
can't do it.
cancel it.
I think that's
Yeah.
more than I think we can do that. You can do
Yeah.
that.
I'm gonna
Oh
be
my
able to figure that
God.
out.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been fun. It's
Yes.
a good long one too. Okay. Well, I think that's it.
I think so too.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah.
I hope you guys go read some good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, give some suggestions or, don't, whatever. Share with people. We want people to listen to this stuff and
Yes,
have some
definitely share.
fun and join in the
Yes.
tomfoolery that is us reviewing books.
Yes.
Cool.
It's good times.
Good time. I
Yeah.
think Emily's talked
Yeah.
out.
I'm like tired and then I have to go drive an hour. So I'm like, okay, I got a monster in the fridge, so I'll be okay.
You got this. All right,
Yeah.
Ems. I will talk with you later.
Yes.
All right. Love you. Thanks again for all the
Love
fun.
you too.
All right.
Anytime.
Yeah, of course. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.